Chapter 1281. Chen Shang produced 3 drops of blood, and said, "Is that really going to work? Don't waste my blood." Long Shui used his divine power to control the 3 drops of blood to fly towards 3 different directions, and said, "You just need to continue running, this way you'll be able to divert at least 1 or 2 of the wild dogs. These wild dogs have bad brains, even if they can tell that the 3 drops of blood is not the correct target, they will still go chase." Sure enough, Chen Shang had already used his heaven tour to look behind him. He saw 2 dogs bringing 2 groups of people towards another direction, and it was Long Shui who had used his blood to lure them away. "Looks like the remaining dog is a good dog," Long Shui said. "It shouldn't be that hard anymore right now, there's only a small group of people chasing after you." Even so, Chen Shang did not dare to face it alone. After all, those people who were chasing him were immortals who grew up here, and he had not confirmed their strength yet. "If there is an immortal monarch, you only need to take care of that dog," Bai Yu said. The people who came to track Chen Shang should have been sent by the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Chen Shang didn't have any enmity with them, and they were only doing things impartially. Chen Shang intentionally slowed down his speed so that the people behind him could catch up quickly so that he could kill the sky dog. That way, he could escape from the pursuers of the group of people. After slowing down, he could quickly sense the auras of those people. There's actually a heavenly monarch, looks like that Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace is quite strong, to be able to send one of his immortal monarchs to finish you off. Long Shui said. Chen Shang was now only at the immortal realm, and was only at the early stages. He felt that it would be difficult for him to break through in the future, but now that he had just entered this realm, he would not think about breaking through anymore for the time being. At most, he would only be able to deal with late-stage immortals. If he were to face a mortal monarch, he might have to engage in a bitter battle unless the opponent was a demon or he used poison or a sneak attack to win. "I can't fight against this immortal monarch, but I can still kill that dog right in front of his eyes." Chen Shang continued to slow down, and when the people chasing after him saw his back, they immediately became vigilant, because they sensed that the people in front had deliberately allowed them to catch up. Chen Shang took a deep breath and started to condense his divine power, then locked onto the snow-white Tengu. "Let's use the soul-absorbing devil spell Soul-Dispersing Curse. Using this technique to attack this kind of beast does not require much strength, it will be very effective," Bai Yu said. Chen Shang originally only planned to attack directly with his spirit, but after hearing Bai Yu's words, he immediately used the soul-absorbing devil spell. In the past, due to the limitations of his own strength, he was unable to use many of the techniques within the soul-absorbing devil spell, and this soul-dispersing curse was one of them. He chanted an incantation, and after condensing the power of the incantation, he immediately turned around and roared towards the back. He chanted an incantation, and after condensing the power of the incantation, he immediately turned around and roared backwards. Seeing these black incantations, those people immediately defended themselves, because they did not know what it was, worried that this was some powerful evil technique, but the Tengu was not so lucky. After the wind formed from the mantra blew past, that Tengu had become a stupid dog. Although it was fine, its soul had already dispersed, and although it did not have a body, it was already crippled. What a powerful mental attack, just who is this person? He has already caused us to lose a Tengu. We must get this debt back from him, a relatively young man said with a head full of sweat. Just now, he only felt that he was as lacking as this Tengu, by a small margin, to become an idiot. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the legendary soul-absorbing devil spell. We must immediately inform Asgard Mistress about this matter. He was the strength of a mortal monarch, and was more knowledgeable than these youngsters. Let's hurry up and leave. This person had held back earlier. If he wanted to deal with us, you guys would have been in trouble already. The old man kept the Tengu into storage magic treasures that could store demonic beasts, and then quickly left with the other young men. Chen Shang, who was running away, had left a strand of divine soul to eavesdrop on their conversation. If they see that I am using the soul-absorbing devil spell, it shouldn't be a problem. Chen Shang asked Bai Yu. Although he had used devil arts many times, but most of the people knew that he had this kind of powerful devil arts, and very few could survive. No, they don't know who you are. Bai Yu didn't mind at all, however, this will still cause some waves. The attraction of the strange techniques in the demon world is even more attractive than many of the immortal world's divine arts. Chen Shang also felt that the devouring magic Kung Fu, for example, was extremely useful, but he seldom used it now, and had only chosen to use it as an opportunity. He would not blindly use this devil art to swallow other people to raise his strength. If he used too much of it, it would more or less leave behind some hidden dangers. If he were to fall into the hands of someone who had ill intentions, he would definitely be especially useful. In the end, he would only end up being killed. I have to quickly find that sacred beast's ancient realm. The beast slain method is inside, and that Dan Emperor is also marked with an item there. I wonder if the Dan Emperor is hiding something there. This was what Chen Xiang was more concerned about right now. He needed to gather all the heaven-earth killing method as soon as possible. If that's the case, you first have to go to a place with more immortal palaces or a super large immortal palace in order to find out where that place is. Su Meiyao said. Then how do we get there? Chen Xiang asked anxiously. If you want to undergo teleportation, you have to enter the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's heavenly realm. Only inside there can be large-scale transmission arrays. Don't even think about walking on your own. Even if it's a fellow like White Tiger, it would be hard to reach in a short period of time. Su Meiyao's words made it difficult for him. He could not enter the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace now. He had just killed another person's Tengu and those people already knew that he understood soul-absorbing devil spell. Don't worry, I can help you deal with this, but I'm still a little bit away from breaking through. As long as I can break through, I can let those Tengu not smell even the slightest hint of you. Long Shui said with complete confidence. It's true, Chen Xiang obviously knew what Long Shui was planning. Of course, give me about 20 more sacred animal fruit before I break through. Long Shui counted with his fingers inside the ring. Chapter 1282, Chen Xiang, who was running, also calculated how long it would take him to copy 20 sacred animal fruit. According to the speed of the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal herbs, I can create it within a month. Chen Xiang thought, there were different main ingredients for Hunyuan Dan, he could get 10 each every month. If nothing unexpected happened, the amount of creation divine liquid that he condensed in a month should be enough to duplicate 20 sacred animal fruit. Don't use this reason to trick me into eating the fruit. If you dare to lie to me, I'll definitely spank you. Chen Xiang said, now he could only choose this method. As long as he was not discovered when he entered the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, he would be able to obtain spiritual crystal S there and then leave the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. HMPH, they're already so familiar with you, yet you still don't believe them. Long Shui snorted. Chen Xiang left the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace and arrived at a forest beside a large river. He hid in it to condense creation divine liquid and make some sacred animal fruit for Long Shui to eat. I wonder if we can get our 2 hearts worth of sacred animal fruit. How are the effects compared to 20 of them? Chen Xiang asked Su Meiyao. It's hard to say. In the past when I refined pills, I had only used sacred animal fruit S that were wholehearted in nature. I have never seen 2-sided sacred animal fruit S, unless they were forces that specifically raise a mortal beast S. Su Meiyao said. There's no need to be double-hearted. As long as it's wholehearted, it's fine. I've already calculated everything and can eat 20 of them just like that. It's not worth it to only eat one. There's no way I can satisfy my craving. Long Shui shouted. In order to satisfy Long Shui's appetite, Chen Xiang decided not to harass those 2 hearts of sacred animal fruit for the time being. He spent a month's time to duplicate 20 sacred animal fruit. After I sleep for 2 days, I'll be able to break through. Long Shui said a few words to Chen Xiang before he went to sleep. Just by sleeping, he could break through, causing Chen Xiang to be extremely envious. This little naughty dragon only raised strength by eating, drinking and sleeping all day. Even though it was like that, the speed at which she raised her strength was extremely fast. She was even stronger than him now, causing people to be extremely jealous. Chen Xiang did not stay idle these 2 days, he continued to condense creation divine liquid S. Right now, if he wanted to copy ingredients, they were all of high quality and would require a lot of creation divine liquid S, so whenever he had time or was rushing, he would condense creation divine liquid S. If not, he would have to wait for many days. Long Shui woke up and yawned. Alright, you can go to Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace now. I guarantee that those Tengu won't find you. What if he finds me? Although Chen Xiang asked this, he was already rushing towards the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. If you're found out, then hit my ass as much as you want. Long Shui said with complete confidence. How did you do it? Chen Xiang was extremely curious. What realm is your divine soul in now? The first stage is called the power of divine arts, and you are at this stage. The second stage is called the divine transformation, and this is the stage one went through previously. As you know, the third stage is called the boundless divine arts, which is also the final stage of the divine arts. Long Shui said, as for how powerful you are, you will know in the future once you have formed your contract. I can't explain it to you right now either. Chen Shang scratched his head and said, little naughty dragon, why are you raising your cultivation so fast? It's hard for my current cultivation in the divine way to even advance. Long Shui laughed proudly. This is called a race talent, you can't force it. You, as a human, only used such a small amount of time to reach this realm, you should be satisfied. I am the Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord, you can't compare to me. Chen Shang muttered in his heart, so what? No matter what emperor you are, you will always be my person in the future. A group of Devil Dao suddenly came to the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, and a few powerful demon immortals were hiding there. They all came for the soul-absorbing devil spell, especially for Mo Tian, and he had almost smashed the pot. The soul-absorbing devil spell had been lost for countless of years, and now that he had finally appeared, there were many powerful demons that did not hesitate to use a large number of spiritual crystals, letting a group of people come over to investigate. As for the brainless heaven dog, after Chen Shang used the soul-dispersing curse, it was already a treasure. Many almighty people who came to confirm the soul-absorbing devil spell had to spend a sum of spiritual crystal to examine the 7 spirits and 6 souls in the dog's body. Although the specific cultivation method of the soul-absorbing devil spell was lost, but after being struck by the soul-absorbing devil spell, the relevant information had still been passed down. For example, right now, someone could tell from that Tengu that he had been hit by the soul-dispersing curse. The mysterious man who used the soul-absorbing devil spell had disappeared outside of Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Previously, he had killed the Divine Wind Immortal Country's Wang Sun, and he was a person who had just ascended into the sky. The weapon of attack he used was also a demon weapon with dense killing intent. Chen Shang went inside the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace again and strolled around outside the sky region wall. He already knew that Mo Tian had sent many experts to investigate the matter regarding the soul-absorbing devil spell. Sister Yu, you're quite accurate. As expected, it caused quite a commotion. Chen Shang said. That is a given, the soul-absorbing devil spell has been lost for a long time, although I have mastered it, I have not used it much, only a few experts know that I understand this technique, and I am already dead in the eyes of these people. Bai Yu said. See, those Tengu did not chase me, I have reached the realm of limitless divine arts, and used the peerless divine ability that only the Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord can use, to help you hide that trace of smell that Tengu can smell. Long Shui laughed proudly. Chen Shang ignored her as he calculated how he would be able to enter the heaven realm. The permit would require 10,000 spiritual crystal to buy, and they would need to eat and live inside. When he first came to the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, Chong Jonkai had first brought him to a place where he could find work and work as much as he could to earn spiritual crystal. Chen Shang couldn't think of a good idea for now, so he could only come here to take a look. He arrived at a bustling street, and found a 6-story tall wooden pagoda inside. There were a lot of people here, all waiting for the spiritual crystal to earn a good job. They were lazy eaters, and wanted to think of the least to do the simplest thing, to earn the most spiritual crystal. On the wall of the hall inside, there were many pieces of paper, and all that was written were jobs that could earn spiritual crystals. Chen Shang looked around. There were many jobs that could earn him a large amount of spiritual crystal, but it was very dangerous. To actually kill a beast king level immortal beast. Isn't this equivalent to courting death? I'm not going, Su Meiyao said. This is even more outrageous. It's just 1,000,000 spiritual crystal, yet he wants them to take a single beast egg from the king of beasts. I'll give him twice the price, and tell him to give me 2. Bai Yu said. Chapter 1283, Chen Shang said. I only have over 1,000 spiritual crystal with me right now. I need over 10,000 spiritual crystal to enter the heavenly region A. Before he finished his sentence, he suddenly saw a piece of paper written on it, number of recruits, your abilities must be at least human immortal grade. If it's a demon immortal or a demon immortal, as long as you have a beautiful woman or a worldly immortal, there's no limit. If you can pass the examination, you will be able to stay in the heavenly region for a long period of time. Who is this, to actually need so many helpers? It seems that the conditions are not bad, and we can just use the spiritual crystal to sneak into the heaven realm. We might even be able to follow this fellow and leave the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Chen Shang thought. You can use the 72 changes and become a beautiful woman. You might be able to pass the examination very easily. Long Shui chuckled. Chen Shang said snappily, I don't change woman, just thinking about it makes me feel disgusted. Su Meiyao teased from the side as he laughed, I also want to see how this little scoundrel turns into a woman to deceive men. Just thinking about it makes me feel that it's very interesting. Chen Shang secretly despised them all and memorized the address before walking out of the wooden tower to ask about the situation and see if he could pass the examination. After arriving at that place, Chen Shang was brought into a small hall. He felt a little surprised, because no matter how he looked at it, it did not look like the place where the great master lived. You are the 50th one today. No one has ever heard of this audit before. And this is also the last day. Work hard, young man. A big fellow said as he brought Chen Shang in. Then how many fighters were recruited? Chen Shang asked. So far, there are only 2. If you pass, it would be the 3rd. After saying that, the big man left the hall. Chen Shang waited for a moment, and a burst of fragrance suddenly assaulted him. Chen Shang immediately looked outside the door, and in between, a lady dressed in a light green dress slowly walked in. She was extremely noble and beautiful, with many styles. Chen Shang was stunned, not because of the girl's impeccable appearance, but because he recognized her. Yao Shumai, the leader from the past, had once threatened to take her daughter in as a female slave. However, this Yao Shumai and her daughter had a good relationship with Lu Menger and the others. Could it be that this mother and daughter pair of flowers are both here? This beautiful mother and daughter pair, just thinking of them makes me drool. Hee, Long Shui smiled dubiously. Back then, when they were in the sacred Dan realm, a portion of them went to the heaven realm, and this Yao Shumai and her daughter Mu Jialan were one of them. They gave up their noble position in the DTN Peach Blossom Imperial land and chose to go there instead. My test is very simple. First, I will attack you for 3 moves and you can dodge them one by one, proving that you have the ability to escape in times of danger. Then, you will attack me for 3 moves and let me see if your strength can satisfy me. Yao Shumai revealed a faint charming smile, but it did not lose out to his noble and dignified temperament. Chen Zhang's mental fortitude was very good, although this Yao Shumai was more bewitching than before, he had long been trained in this area, it was not like he had never seen a woman who was as beautiful as him, and his number 1 slave, Hua Shangyu, had even developed a very close relationship with him. At this moment, he was unmoved, he knew that Yao Shumai purposely revealing a bewitching look, was a kind of test for him. Chen Shang also replied with a faint smile. Right now, he was only an ordinary-looking youth. Was secretly shocked. Earlier, when she had been looking at Chen Shang, she had felt that she had already released her tempting powers to the extreme. Even in the Peach Blossom Immortal Country male immortal monarchs who were stronger than her would sometimes have evil thoughts in their hearts and reveal them in their eyes. However, the young man in front of him didn't seem to be affected at all. In addition, there was a hint of a mocking and playful smile on his face, as if to say, for a trash like you, it's useless to strip naked. Yao Shumai was secretly shocked, but a very gentle smile surfaced on his face. The feeling this warm smile brought was like a gust of warm wind that suddenly blew in a cold world of ice and snow, causing one to be infatuated. Just then, Yao Shumai's soft and delicate palm suddenly struck over like a ray of light. Chen Shang, who was already prepared, immediately turned and dodged to the side, dodging the palm strike. He brazenly took a deep breath of the wonderful fragrance released from Yao Shumai's body, and laughed. Continue. Yao Shumai was such a strong woman, if not she would not have been leader's leader. She felt that she was being toyed with by a man, and fury filled her heart, as she landed lightly on the ground. Her body moved like a ghost, and in the blink of an eye, she was already behind Chen Shang. Just as she was about to hit Chen Shang, what made Yao Shumai angry was that during the most crucial moment, Chen Shang had actually jumped up, and allowed her blade to miss. HMPH. After Yao Shumai's palm hit nothing, she immediately extended out her beautiful long leg and kicked at Chen Shang. Chen Shang had a lot of battle experience, and understood Yao Shumai's thoughts very well, everything was within his grasp. When he dodged Yao Shumai's palm strike, he knew that she would strike, and after he avoided it, he anxiously turned around. At this time, Yao Shumai had just raised her slender legs up high. Although she was still wearing her pants, but facing a man like this, she immediately blushed. Seeing the playful smile on Chen Zhang's face, Yao Shumai scolded in her heart. She felt that the person in front of her had done it on purpose, wanting to see her make a fool of herself. You passed the first trial, but if you don't pass the second trial, you still won't be able to become my fighter. Yao Shumai recovered from the shock and said softly. Chen Shang nodded. Are you really only in the elementary worldly immortal stage? Yao Shumai suddenly asked. The chi the man in front of him was releasing, without a doubt, the aura of a worldly immortal. Of course, Chen Shang said honestly. His innate chi was indeed at this level, so even if it was released, it did not matter. However, his body was very strong. Then you can make your move. You can use the innate chi to move your body, but you cannot use it when you attack. Yao Shumai warned repeatedly, if you are a threat to me, I will retaliate. Just as Chen Shang wanted to take action, 3 figures flashed out, 1 girl and 2 men. The lady was a graceful and gentle lady. She looked extremely similar to Yao Shumai, wearing a pink dress. Her entire body was releasing a spiritual chi, and the lady was Yao Shumai's daughter, Mu Jialan. Chapter 1284. Chen Shang was not surprised by the relationship between mother and daughter. He was only curious why Yao Shumai had asked for a helper. Chen Shang guessed that the 2 men who came in with Mu Jialan were probably the other 2 thugs that they had just recruited. However, looking at their clothes and temperament, they did not seem like they lacked spiritual crystals to do this kind of work. These 2 men are both in the advanced stage of the immortal realm. That heavenly peach blossom goddess only has the strength of the intermediate stage of the immortal realm. Who knows, they might not be a match for those 2 men. Long Shui said. She could quickly see the strength of others. The innate chi in those 2 men's bodies were very pure. They were not rogue cultivators, but rather from famous sects. Su Meiyao said. Mom, this is the person who just accepted the recruitment, right? How strong is he? Mu Jialan had a gentle and sweet smile on her face as she sized Chen Shang up. No matter what kind of person the other party was, as long as they weren't her enemies, she would treat them politely. He has already passed the first round of my assessment. He is now in the second round. Yao Shumai's words surprised Mu Jialan slightly, and the 2 men were even more so surprised. They never thought that the person in front of them, although not much in terms of appearance, would have such strength. Mu Jialan's eyes lit up as he laughed. Mother, even the 2 ground-level guards from the 2 immortal countries were unable to clear your first round. I never thought that he would actually be able to do it. The light-robed man refused to accept this and immediately said, that's just because we haven't used our true strength yet. To lose face in front of a woman was something that these 2 men couldn't accept, even though Mu Jialan was speaking the truth. The other man in black also quickly said, if you don't let this brother compete with us, then you will know. Chen Shang secretly laughed in his heart. He really wanted to teach these 2 a lesson, but just when he was about to agree, Yao Shumai said, we'll talk after I finish this round of examinations. Yao Shumai was secretly toyed with by Chen Shang just now, so he was in a bad mood and wanted to take revenge. As long as I can meet you 3 times in the second round, I'll consider it as passing. Mu Jialan's eyes moved about. He looked at the 2 immortal countries' guards and spoke softly, Mother, this is extremely difficult. In these past few days, no one has been able to pass through even the first round, let alone the second round. In the past few days, Mu Jialan had been annoyed by these 2 immortal country guards, and took this opportunity to attack them. This was because they were unable to pass Yao Shumai's test and had to use their background to follow them. The 2 men's faces changed slightly, but they did not say anything, but Chen Shang could see the ruthless look in their eyes. It was directed at Mu Jialan. Mu Jialan had also noticed it, but she still had a smile on her face, obviously wishing that the 2 men hated her. Yao Shumai frowned slightly when he saw that his daughter wanted to make enemies with these 2 men. You youngsters, can't you help me relax a little? If it wasn't for my father's sake, I really don't want to come. Before, he had even planned to pursue Mu Jialan, but he didn't expect that Mu Jialan would scold him in such a way, which made him angry in his heart. Exactly, don't think that you can strut around as long as you are in charge of DTN's position of power in Heaven Realm. You guys are only so-so here, don't think that you're still acting like you're in charge of DTN. The other azure-dressed man said coldly. Yao Shumai was furious, and shouted, you don't want to follow me, you can go back now. If not for you, I, Yao Shumai, would still be able to accomplish the task. Before this, I did not want you to come, you have not even passed the first round of my examinations. Chen Shang watched the show from the side, and the scene allowed him to see the situation that Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan were in the Peach Blossom Sky Kingdom. It could be said that it was normal, but one part of the reason was because they had accomplished a great merit in the Emperor's Sky Realm, so it gave them some convenience. However, from the words of the two men, the beautiful mother and daughter pair were merely vases in the Peach Blossom Sky Kingdom. It was also because of this that made Yao Shumai angry. When Mu Jialan saw Yao Shumai scolding her, he stuck out his tongue and laughed softly. "Mother, don't be angry. These two fellows are useless at all. Not only did they come here without proper business, they eat and play merrily all day long, and even brought a group of their bad friends. They always have something to do with me." Yao Shumai said to Chen Shang, "I have let you down, we will proceed with the next round of examination. If you can pass, the rewards in the future will definitely be very generous, and the two fellows just now can all be given to you. From what you can see, the strength that you have displayed is much better than those two guys. It's enough to have one henchman. Mother is so awesome too. One or two, what's there to be afraid of?" Mu Jialan smiled sweetly. "Then madam, please get ready. I am going to make my move," Chen Shang said. Mu Jialan retreated to the door, her beautiful eyes flashing. She seemed to be studying seriously. "Attack me 3 times. As long as you can touch me with these 3 moves, including my clothes, even if I can pass, I will only dodge. I won't retaliate, nor will I block." Yao Shumai and Chen Shang stood at a distance and made a gesture that indicated that Chen Shang could make his move. "Watch my palm." Suddenly, he disappeared. He did not use a spatial teleportation, it was purely his footsteps. He modified it using the shrinking step, so no one could see him. But in Mu Jialan's eyes, his footsteps were extremely strange, as if he was riding on lightning, flashing back and forth. When he made his move, Chen Shang had even reminded Yao Shumai, and when Yao Shumai saw this strange yet incomparably quick movement technique, she was greatly shocked. Not giving her time to think, Chen Shang had already arrived behind her back and smashed his palm towards her. Yao Shumai's movement technique was also not bad. Chen Shang had seen it firsthand, but it was all in his hands, and when Yao Shumai dodged, he seemed to know Yao Shumai's thoughts, and immediately appeared at the place where Yao Shumai had landed after dodging, beside Yao Shumai. He had already slapped his palm towards Yao Shumai, just in time to push him to the side of the beautiful woman's proud mountain range. "Ah!" Yao Shumai cried out. Just now, she felt that her twin peaks, which had not been touched by a man for who knows how many years, had been rubbed by someone just now. Chapter 1285. Chen Shang felt that he had touched on an incredible thing, and anxiously retreated, explaining, it was not intentional. Yao Shumai blushed red. In the previous tests, she had already suffered a small loss due to Chen Shang, but she didn't expect to suffer a huge loss this time. Mu Jialan's face was filled with astonishment, and he did not know what to say, because Chen Shang did not do it on purpose just now. That must have been intentional. Yao Shumai coldly snorted in her heart. She really wanted to fight with this person in front of her. Of course, she blushed when she saw Chen Shang. She could not attack him, as the person in front of her had good strength. If he was not a little hoodlum, then he was a perfect candidate in her eyes. "Let's continue." Yao Shumai's expression recovered its calmness, and said solemnly. Chen Shang was more careful this time. His footsteps were not strange, but his speed was even faster. It was just that he did not dare to use his hands to attack, and only used his leg to sweep below Yao Shumai's knee. Yao Shumai was also wary of Chen Shang now, and was worried that he would be eaten by her again, so she kept her guard up against him. However, she didn't expect that Chen Shang would only hit her lower body this time, and while she was dodging, Chen Zhang's foot would still gently slide across her long skirt. From the third strike, Chen Shang had still only targeted Yao Shumai's knee area. Yao Shumai had also already noticed this. From the moment Chen Shang had flashed towards her, she had already seen it in his eyes. It only hit Chen Zhang's knee for a second, in order to prevent embarrassment and misunderstanding when touching a place that should not be touched again. Both Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan understood this point, so they secretly praised Chen Zhang's character. Yao Shumai tried his best to dodge, but he still couldn't understand why Chen Zhang's leg still hit her leg. Chen Zhang's speed and movement skills were both higher than hers. "You passed." Although Yao Shumai said it this way, he was still a little unconvinced in his heart. Everyone had a competitive spirit. Furthermore, she was defeated by a young man whose cultivation was much lower than hers. In Yao Shumai's heart, she thought that adding on the 3 previous times, he had already lost 6 times in a row. "You can follow us to the Qingyun realm. As for what you're going to do, you'll find out when you get there," Yao Shumai said. "As for the danger, there definitely is." It's fine if you want to withdraw right now. Chen Shang thought for a while, then asked, if you finish what you need at Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, can you bring me to another Immortal Palace? I don't want to stay here. That's fine. Maybe you'll have to follow us everywhere during this period of time, and be transported to other Immortal Palaces. Yao Shumai knew that the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace was located in a relatively remote location in the Heaven Realm, very far from the other Immortal Palaces. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan led Chen Shang to the entrance of the Heaven Realm, and helped Chen Shang get a pass at the entrance. They already had it a long time ago, so Chen Shang did not know why they had so many spiritual crystals to use. He had finally entered the heavenly region. No matter what aspect it was more luxurious than the outside world. The streets were paved with a kind of extremely beautiful jade brick with some engravings on it. There was no need to even mention the shops on both sides. The decorations on the outside were extremely luxurious, and the interior was even more luxurious. Of course, everything here was expensive. Even if it's the Dan King's, it would still be difficult to survive in this kind of place. They are basically burning spiritual crystal here. Chen Shang followed behind Yao Shumai, looking left and right, as though he was a country bumpkin. The majority of the people inside were very strong and rich. One could tell from their clothes that Long Shui had already pointed out what beast skins some of them wore and what kind of celestial silk they were wearing. Mu Jialan and Yao Shumai could be considered more outstanding beauties. Furthermore, they were walking together with two of them, making them look like a pair of beautiful sisters. This, coupled with the existence of a bumpkin that was incompatible with the heaven realm behind them, caused them to attract many gazes along the way. The place Yao Shumai and the others were staying at was very good, it was a quiet courtyard house. This house isn't cheap, right? The moment Chen Shang entered, he saw the multicolored fragrant flowers in the courtyard, and when he saw the elegant little house, he immediately exclaimed in admiration. 1,000 spiritual crystals a day isn't too expensive, but there are only 2 rooms here. Before, Lenore and I had a room each, but now I'll give one to you. Lenore and I will live together. Yao Shumai said. On the way, she had already asked for Chen Zhang's name, but she didn't ask for anything else. Chen Shang had told her a fake name, Yang Yu. Right now, they were sitting in the courtyard. Madam, did you guys ascend from DTN? You guys should be very famous in DTN, right? Chen Shang deliberately asked. Oh, my name is Yao Shumai, I'm. Knowing that Chen Shang was also flying up, Yao Shumai was a bit surprised. I've heard a lot about her. She should be the Peach Blossom Heaven Lady, I didn't expect her to be you and your daughter. I should have thought of that long ago. Chen Shang purposely revealed a look of respect. Little Yang, then you should have heard of Chen Shang. How is he now, has he ascended yet? But come to think of it, your luck isn't that bad, you actually didn't appear in the palace. Mu Jialan asked excitedly, his face full of expectation for Chen Shang to answer her question. Chen Shang shot a glance at Yao Shumai. He realized that Yao Shumai also seemed to be interested to know something about him. He never thought that this mother and daughter pair would actually be so concerned about him. Oh, are you one of his wives, so concerned about him? Since Chen Shang purposely said that, of course he could answer Mu Jialan's previous question. He was Chen Shang. Mu Jialan stuck out her tongue, supporting her cheek with one hand. She said, of course not, but his woman and I have a good relationship. After getting along with each other for a while, we can be considered good friends. Chen Shang asked again, then you really admire him? Mu Jialan immediately nodded. Of course, to be able to chase away the great emperor, who has 2 dragon veins, and to be able to go against many Tongtian aristocratic family and sage realm cultivators earlier, while not being afraid of the chaotic mountain in the sacred Dan realm A. Mu Jialan listed a bunch of Chen Zhang's achievements, and some of them were things that Chen Shang did not remember, so he felt that there must be some people making him up. However, Chen Shang still corrected him a little, and said, he only had 1 dragon vein. Chen Martial continent was suddenly suppressed by a very big mountain, thus the entire Devil continent was destroyed. Oh, then did he ascend? Yao Shumai asked. There was no news of him decades ago. He should have ascended long ago. Chen Shang did not want to reveal his identity right now. In this heaven realm, there was a large handful of fellows who were stronger than him. Chapter 1286. Until now, Chen Shang still did not know what dangerous things this Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan were trying to do. He had tried to sound out their conversation, but they didn't say anything. Looks like the person we're waiting for won't be coming today. Yao Shumai looked at the sky and said. Then I'll go out and buy something. What do you want to eat? Mu Jialan looked at Chen Shang. She was extremely polite to him. Just eat some immortal beast meat. Chen Shang had originally only said that casually, but Mu Jialan nodded and then left. Little Yang, it's still too late for you to leave now. We won't take that month's pass, and what you need to do with us is indeed quite dangerous. You just came to the heaven realm, it's not easy to ascend. Yao Shumai said after hesitating for a while. Chen Shang shook his head. Don't worry about me, why don't you guys use some spiritual crystal S to invite a stronger ranker? Yao Shumai sighed. I will soon be able to become a immortal monarch. At the worldly immortal stage, my strength can be considered stronger. If I were to invite more people, then I will become a immortal monarch level person, which requires a lot of spiritual crystal, and immortal monarch may not be able to do it. Then what is it? Chen Zhang's heart itched. I'm not sure for now, the main thing is that we need to grab something. After we catch it, we might be hunted down, and as for whether or not there would be an immortal monarch, that's what I'm worried about. Yao Shumai said in a low voice. And Shui Shenxian had interacted with the mother and daughter before, and that was when they were at Sacred Dan Realm. They had a good impression of this pair of beautiful mother and daughter, but when their group met with danger, Yao Shumai had done his best to protect them. If he could help them, Chen Shang would definitely do his best to help them. Moreover, he could tell that this mother and daughter pair was probably going to face a huge crisis soon. When night fell, Mu Jialan gave Chen Shang some decent clothes, because he would be with them for a period of time. Hurry up and put it on. Mu Jialan laughed. Let's eat first. Chen Shang looked at the large chunks of grilled beast meat on the table, which was covered with some fragrant seasoning. Chen Shang very impolitely ate a lot of meat, then went to take a bath and change into the clothes Mu Jialan had given him. Although he currently had a very ordinary appearance, he had changed into a set of luxurious golden clothes, giving him a very human-like appearance. At the very least, he wasn't as rustic as he was before. Not bad, don't rot it. Mu Jialan nodded his head in satisfaction. Deep into the night, Chen Shang stayed in her room, but she was not at ease. Long Shui was also staring at the surroundings of the small house, because the mother and daughter should be in danger right now. They didn't sleep. Their eyes were open. They didn't speak. Long Shui said. Once they speak, if they have anything important to say, pass it on to me. Chen Shang said. Long Shui said again. Mu Jialan spoke, listen A. Through the secret technique that Long Shui used to turn his voice around, Chen Shang could clearly hear Mu Jialan's voice. Didn't little Yang say that Chen Shang has already ascended for many years, but why is there no news at all? Yao Shumai said. If I were Chen Shang, I would also be raising my strength in a very low profile. If he had any news about it, this heaven realm would have already exploded. I really hope to see him soon, maybe we can Before Mu Jialan could finish speaking, Long Shui shouted, someone is approaching this place. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan also sensed it, and immediately got off the bed and went into the courtyard. When Chen Shang executed the divine traveling technique, 3 black-clothed men appeared in the courtyard. At first, Long Shui had only just noticed when he arrived, not to mention that this was the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's domain, which was filled with experts. You only have 2 months left, you must capture that pair of Holy Spirit rabbit, otherwise you will definitely die. One of the men in black said, sounding like a woman. Got it, Yao Shumai said coldly, you should at least give us some clues. Back then, it was your Peach Blossom Immortal Country's Immortal King who obtained it. He arranged for a person to bring it here and sell it to the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's Palace Master, and that Immortal King eventually gave a mysterious person to him. That mysterious person should very likely be the Heavenly God Blade Palace's Palace Master, and currently, her maid is responsible for raising him. The man in black said. Chen Shang already knew what he was going to do next. After the 3 black-clothed men left, Chen Shang told what he had heard to Su Meiyao and Bai Yu. The Holy Spirit rabbit actually appeared. Haha, it's the matter of those 2 bitches stealing the rabbit again. I wonder how many idiotic men would fall for their trap. Su Meiyao laughed, but it was filled with ruthlessness. Chen Shang and Long Shui were a little shocked, and immediately asked, Sister Meiyao, could it be that those 2 bastards who want to steal the rabbit are people who have tortured you two to such an extent? It's not them, but they are also one of our enemies. They had cheated us before, and they seem to be related to our greatest enemy. Su Meiyao said. What happened to the Holy Spirit rabbit? Chen Shang asked. That must be something extraordinary. Holy Spirit rabbit is a holy beast. Long Shui said. it is merely a holy beast that is the weakest, and has no offensive power. But this Holy Spirit rabbit has a very heaven-defying ability, which is, by eating the spiritual crystal and condensing a lot of holy blood, it can condense a small bowl every day. After drinking this holy blood, the benefits are great, it can help us cultivate our body of heavenly sage even faster. Su Meiyao said. That's right, but this Holy Spirit rabbit also has another ability, which is to disappear at the same time every once in a while, and then reappear in the same place again. But all this time, only Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Frozen Moon Asgard have known how to find the Holy Spirit rabbit, so every time the Holy Spirit rabbit disappeared, it would cause a struggle between the two immortal palaces. Chen Shang said in surprise, doesn't that mean that the two palace masters are very strong, and drink this sacred blood all day long? Bai Yu replied, of course, if not we wouldn't have suffered such a huge loss at their hands. They are indeed powerful immortal kings. Then why did she force Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan to steal the rabbit? Chen Shang couldn't understand. Divine Saber Immortal Palace is not someone to be trifled with. If he knew that it was Shui Yu and Han Yu who stole it, Divine Saber Immortal Palace wouldn't care so much. He would immediately kill his way over. Of course, this is only if he has evidence. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang took a deep breath. Now he knew how dangerous the things Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan had done were. If Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan were to be discovered, Divine Saber Immortal Palace wouldn't be much either. Peach Blossom Immortal Country is made up of many immortal palaces, otherwise, they wouldn't dare to be called Immortal Country. I didn't think that these Tongtian aristocratic family and Sheng domain would have such rallying powers in Heaven Realm. Su Meiyao explained. Chapter 1287. The powers above Heaven Realm are all huge beings, any immortal palace has a lot of power. This Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan are really unlucky, to be forced to do such a thing. Whether they succeed or not, the consequences will be dire. Su Meiyao said. They are all from the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, and the Jade Rabbits were sold there from the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, that's why they were chosen. If they were to successfully steal them from the Divine Saber Immortal Palace, I think they would definitely be found out. Bai Yu said. They are women, it is easy to get close to them, but what do they want me to do? Chen Shang could not understand why Yao Shumai and the others wanted to invite an outsider to participate in this matter. At this time, Yao Shumai knocked on Chen Zhang's door and lightly shouted, Little Yang, are you asleep yet? Chen Shang immediately stood up to open the door, and asked, what's the matter? Yao Shumai said in a low voice, follow me. She then brought Chen Shang to their room. Mu Jialan had already set up a formation inside, and obviously wanted to say something very important, but these two women and the man were in the same room, making Chen Shang feel a little uncomfortable. What we have to do is dangerous, and it's only 2 months away. Yao Shumai gestured for Chen Shang to sit as he said seriously. Well, what is it? Although Chen Shang and the others wanted to steal the Jade Rabbit, they didn't know what to do. Yao Shumai said in a deep voice. We need to steal 2 rabbits, but it's extremely difficult to enter that place, but we already have a way, when the time comes, you must cooperate with us. Chen Shang nodded. I will do as you say. Mu Jialan's expression became very serious as well, it was obvious that they were under a lot of pressure right now. We will arrange the following matters for you. In the middle of the night, Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan brought Chen Shang and walked on the luxurious street that was the color of red wine. Even though it was still in the middle of the night, the sky region was still bustling with noise. Chen Shang followed this pair of beautiful mother and daughter flowers. After passing through a few streets, they arrived at the front door of a villa. Chen Shang did not know what kind of villa this was, nor did he have a name. Yao Shumai walked to the door and lightly knocked. After waiting for a while, a middle-aged burly man opened the door and welcomed Yao Shumai and the others in. It was just that when Chen Shang went in, he was scanned by a few strong streams of consciousness, but he did not discover anything strange about his body. There are several immortal monarchs. Long Shui said. No wonder why there weren't any guards here, there were a few immortal monarchs here, perhaps only the immortal kings would dare to barge in. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan took Chen Shang around 7 and 8 turns in the villa, and in the end, arrived at a 3-storied building made out of white jade. There are 3 immortal monarchs inside. Long Shui said again. Knew that he had to be careful in a bit. After entering the white jade pavilion, Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan first made Chen Shang sit in the hall to wait, while the chairs, floors, pillars, etc. Everything was made of white jade. Not long after, a beautiful lady wearing a snow-white dress walked out. She looked pretty and cold, and when her eyes swept over, it gave off a cold feeling, as though she was 1,000 miles away from everyone else. Her entire body emitted a proud and aloof aura. She was actually an immortal monarch. So familiar, could it be her? Bai Yu said in shock. It's that little girl. I didn't expect her to grow up to be so big. Su Meiyao giggled. Little scoundrel, the beauty in front of you is not a human, she's a flower demon formed from a 10,000-year snow lotus, the same as LV Qinlian. Chen Shang asked. What's so funny, you know her? This little girl is very strong, and she is very good at dealing with men, especially those who are bad. It is said that if there is a man who is dishonest and wants to do something bad, she can feel it. Then, she can use one of her abilities to freeze that thing to death. Su Meiyao laughed. Chen Shang now understood why Yao Shumai wanted to test him. So there was this layer of relationship between them. Bai Yu said. I thought she would be like junior sister, but I never thought that it won't be. Su Meiyao laughed and said. She is a snow lotus to begin with, so there's nothing bad about being with senior sister at a cold place like yours. I like women like senior sister very much. To think that this little girl Yu Shuilian would actually be the maid of the Divine Blade Palace mistress. However, for her to be able to raise a jade rabbit here, it seems that she has quite a high position in the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. Bai Yu said. At this moment, Yu Shuilian was staring at Chen Shang. She could tell that Chen Shang was distracted, but there were 3 beauties sitting in the hall, and it seemed like he did not see them. Little Yang, this is the Snow Lotus Demon Lord. She is one of the 10 great monarchs of the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. Yao Shumai said. Chen Shang immediately bowed to Yu Shuilian. Yang Yu greets the Snow Lotus Demon Lord. Even though Yu Shuilian's face was ice cold, she had a very good impression of Chen Shang. She gently waved her hand and said, There's no need to be polite, please take a seat. There were only Chen Shang and the 3 women in the hall. Chen Shang took a sniff of the 3 different scents and suddenly felt that there was something indescribably wonderful about them. Big sister Shuiluo, my mother has already tested little Yang and passed all her tests. She hasn't failed a single time. Mu Jialan laughed. Oh, you really can't judge a book by its cover. Yu Shuilian nodded slightly. Chen Shang was confused now, he felt that these 3 women were plotting something. Yu Shuilian had the support of the Divine Blade Palace mistress, and was in charge of taking care of the Jade Rabbit. On the other hand, Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan had been kidnapped by the Frigid Moon Snow Moon Immortal Palace to steal Jade Rabbit, but from the looks of it, they seemed to be in the same group. Chen Shang quickly thought that if they wanted to take all of that Jade Rabbit by themselves, they would have to pay the price of being hunted by the 3 palaces. Of course, Chen Shang was not afraid, because no one knew that he was also involved, but he wanted a share of the spoils. We need to keep what we do a secret. If you are willing to swear a blood oath and don't leak it out, I can prepay you 100,000 spiritual crystal and give you 200,000 after we finish our business. Then we can part ways. Yu Shuilian said. These 300,000 spiritual crystal, to a rookie who had just entered the heaven realm, were a huge sum. However, Chen Shang would not tell them that he had obtained a sacred animal fruit worth 200 spiritual crystal not long ago. All right, Chen Shang immediately agreed, and then made a blood oath that he would definitely not leak the news of him cooperating with the 3 of them. Follow me. Yu Shuilian stood up and walked towards a door. Chapter 1288, Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan followed behind. Chen Shang was the last one. He felt that the 3 women in front of him were really sick of living, they actually wanted to swallow the Jade Rabbit in private. Arriving at Yu Shuilian's room, there was a large jade plate placed on top of a jade table. Chen Shang and the 3 ladies were surrounding the table, only to see a few images inside the jade plate, and 4 rabbits that were snow white like jade and released a snow white glow were running around in a stone room, and inside the stone room, there were 2 old women sitting with their eyes closed. There are actually 4 Holy Spirit rabbit. Chen Shang was secretly shocked in his heart. These 2 old fellows are both from Immortal Monarch. Su Mei and I will think of ways to get rid of them. Yu Shuilian said directly, and then she gently touched the jade platform, causing the image to jump outside the stone room. It was a small courtyard, and there were over 10 beautiful women there, wearing very thin clothes, almost naked, but Chen Shang was not moved at all. Lenore will be in charge of the women outside, and then the passage to the stone chamber. Yu Shuilian touched the jade plate again, but the surface was completely black. Soon after, an image appeared faintly. It was a naked woman with a plump body and jade-like skin. She could clearly see the beautiful things that could make one's blood boil. This woman is responsible for the passage. You only need to deal with her and use this to open the jade room array gate to raise the rabbits. Then, go in and put the 4 jade bunnies into the immortal beast bag. Yu Shuilian had given some things to Chen Shang, so she was becoming more and more satisfied with him, because when Chen Shang saw those charming and enchanting girls, as well as those alluring jade bodies, he was not moved at all. I'm coming out, Chen Shang asked. Meet us here. I have a transmission array played with the surname once, which will allow us to move far away from Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Yu Shuilian said. Originally, we planned to make our move in a month or 2, but now the situation doesn't allow it. We will do our best to maintain your condition. Chen Shang rubbed his nose and asked, why don't you find a girl for this kind of thing? Girls are more convenient. Yu Shuilian said, no, because the person who opens the Jade Room's array door must be a man. Although I am a immortal monarch under the command of the Divine Blade Palace Master, he is still very wary of me. That's why he arranged this way. I cannot open the array door directly, but he still gave me this thing. Chen Shang frowned and said, so that means he is purposely testing you, because other than you and those 2 old granny from the Immortal Monarch, no one else can open the array door. Yu Shuilian nodded. That's right, after we obtain the Jade Rabbit, we will leave this place, and they will probably go to the Snow Moon Immortal Palace to report back. We can't have one each. Although I don't know what kind of rabbit this is, it must be very powerful. Chen Shang said. No, if this Jade Rabbit Blood Man is used, he will only Actually, a lot of people did not know that the Palace Masters of the Frigid Moon Immortal Palace and Snow Moon Immortal Palace were men. There are many women in these 2 immortal palaces and they are very strong as well. Yu Shuilian's words stunned him. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu did not know either, but this was simply too shocking for them. Chen Shang had to remember that he should never touch the women of the Snow Moon Immortal Palace and the Cold Moon Immortal Palace, and never even look at them. Now, he knew why this Holy Spirit Rabbit was sold, and it turned out that men could not use it, unless they did not mind him becoming a woman. But I still want one. Chen Shang said, he cannot use it, but his woman can. What are you doing here? If you sell this thing, it will only lead to a fatal disaster. It's very dangerous, and it will also be sensed by the Snow Moon Immortal Palace and the Hanyu Immortal Palace. Also, if the Jade Rabbit comes into contact with men for a long period of time, it will disappear on its own, so every so often the Shui Yu and the Hanyu Immortal Palace won't be able to protect it, even though they have become women. What Yu Shuilian said was the truth. She felt that giving it to Chen Shang would only be a waste. Just give it to me, I really want it. Chen Shang said. The questions that Yu Shuilian asked were all true. Mu Jialan looked at Chen Shang strangely, and suddenly laughed. Don't tell me you want to become a woman. Oh yes, you seem to have a strong restraining power towards women, could it be that? Hearing Mu Jialan's words, Yu Shuilian and Yao Shumai could not help but laugh. No, I'll give one to my woman. In short, give me one. Chen Shang said. Well, if you can do it, I don't mind giving you one. Although Yu Shuilian looked cold, after interacting with her for a period of time, he felt that she was very amiable. Hearing that they had the chance to obtain Holy Spirit Rabbit, the 3 women in the ring became very excited, especially Long Shuiyi. She had already said that she would give her all to help Chen Shang when the time comes. Holy Spirit Rabbit blood could allow them to have a very strong physical body, so they were not looking forward to the tortoise training that Chen Shang did. Madam Yao, why are all of you being threatened? Why don't you go back and report back? Why don't you just take the Jade Rabbit and run away with the Snowy Lotus Lord? Chen Shang asked. We'll talk about it when we get it. Yao Shumai sighed softly. Mentioning this matter also made her mood very bad. Go and rest, keep yourself in your best condition at any time. Yu Shuilian said. Chen Shang also stayed in the villa and stayed in the White Jade Pavilion. He realized that there were a few immortals in the pavilion, all of them in their advanced stages of cultivation. Daybreak, Chen Shang had to follow Yu Shuilian, and Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan were also by her side. But they couldn't fight today, because when Yu Shuilian saw him, she had already shook her head at him. In the hall, Chen Shang sat and ate some snacks and fruit juice. All these were expensive things to sell outside, but while eating, he quietly gave some to the 3 girls inside the ring, because these were all considered to be good food within the heaven realm, although it was not really effective, but it was very refreshing. Snow Lotus Immortal Monarch, this is the invitation from the Heavenly Cow Palace's leader. A man handed over the invitation letter to Yu Shuilian. After Yu Shuilian finished reading, he said, I will go. Chen Shang realized that Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan had a good relationship with him, and he didn't know how they developed such a relationship to scheme against him. Snowy, why are we inviting you over? Yao Shumai asked. To participate in the pill observation meeting. Several Dan Immortal have come. Yu Shuilian said. After saying that, both Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan understood, but Chen Shang did not. He asked, what is the pill observation assembly? Chapter 1289, Mu Jialan explained. It's because this Dan Immortal will be refining some pills on the spot, showing their pill refining level, and then, various powers will bid, fighting over the power of these Dan Immortal S. It's equivalent to hiring these Dan Immortal S. Chen Shang suddenly realized and laughed. I thought I was going to watch a monkey play in Dan Immortal. Mu Jialan chuckled. Dan Immortal has a very high status, although many large powers have Dan Immortal S. Those Dan Immortal S are very arrogant, and do their own things most of the time, so when there are immortal medicines by their side, those Dan Immortal S coincidentally have no time, or have temporarily disappeared, and can only hire other Dan Immortal S to temporarily hold on. Yu Shuilian said, if it's a very large immortal country, then the Dan Immortal inside will be different. Those Dan Immortal will be more obedient because they need a large amount of high-level pills to support a single immortal country, and they will usually have to take care of the immortal medicines. When the time comes, we will watch together. Maybe we will even meet those Dan Immortal S who are auctioning pellets here. It was in the afternoon, so Chen Shang was a little excited. Because when the time came, many people with status in the Heavenly Bull region would gather, and there would definitely be a lot of strong practitioners, and even palace masters would come. Inside the Grand Palace in the center of the Heavenly region, Chen Shang, Yu Shuilian and the other two absolute beauties took a car and left. When they got off the car, many of them were jealous that he was with the three girls, even though he was just a follower. Inside the palace, Chen Shang got off the carriage and followed behind Yu Shuilian. At the same time, he looked at the strength of the people around him. They were all powerful. There were more than 10 in the Immortal Monarch, in the late period of Human Immortal were the most. The strength of the late period of Human Immortal was considered not bad in the Heaven realm because after the Nirvana stage, every increase in realm would be very difficult. Therefore, although there were many people in the Heaven realm, the number of Immortal Monarchs was still very few. I saw someone I know. Chen Shang said in a low voice. How unlucky. Mu Jialan let out a light snort, because the people Chen Shang spoke of were the two young men from before, the guards of whatever Peach Blossom Immortal country. What surprised Chen Shang wasn't only these two familiar people, but also someone he was even more familiar with, Wang Changjin. It's that old woman again, why is she here? Chen Shang saw Wang Changjin as if he was surrounded by stars surrounding the moon, accompanied by a large group of people. There were a few Immortal Monarch among them. As they walked along the road, no one dared to stand in front of them. They knew that such a character was following them from behind, and those in front all stepped aside, making way for them. They didn't dare to follow behind them until they saw them enter the Heavenly Ox Immortal Palace. Fire Divine Palace is like that, but it's just like that, isn't it that Wang Changjin also had to return with his tail between his legs? I really don't understand. They have 3 Immortal Kings and there are quite a few Immortal Monarchs. In that world where their overall strength is so low, unexpectedly one of them died and still ran back like a stray dog. Yu Shuilian whispered. Chen Shang was secretly pleased with himself, because this had a lot to do with him. The dead Immortal King was killed by him. This is all because they are too arrogant. Not only them, those Heavenly Immortal Countries and Heavenly Saints have all suffered losses because of this. If one day DTN grows up, those people must be very strong. Yao Shumai said. She had come up from there, so she knew this the best. Yu Shuilian nodded. I know, it's all because of a little kid called Chen Shang, right? This person has a green dragon demon slain broadsword. It was crafted by the ancestor of the Divine Saber Immortal Palace, the Divine Blacksmith. Divine Saber Immortal Palace has always been thinking of ways to find this person and take back the Divine Blade. Dream on. Chen Shang sneered in his heart. If he was pissed off, he would take the Hammer of God and smash the Divine Saber Immortal Palace to death. Upon entering the Sky Cow Immortal Palace, the interior was very spacious. In the middle of the hall was a huge patio, and upon walking up the stairs, one would be able to stand in the corridor and look down. The open space below the patio would be where the Dan Immortal would display their skills in pill refining. Yu Shuilian brought Chen Shang and the others to a place on the 3rd floor. Most of the people here were Immortal Monarchs, but they did not greet Yu Shuilian. This way was also good. There were many less things to do. Chen Shang laid on the fence as he looked at the few pagoda-shaped pill furnaces. They were all of excellent quality and were all top-grade immortal equipment. The people from the devil-suppressing divine palace are here. Is the attraction of the soul-absorbing devil spell so great? A person called out in a low voice. Chen Shang immediately looked towards the door, only to see a group of people dressed in gold, their bodies glowing with a holy gold light. When they entered, their aura was much more powerful than fire divine palaces, although there were not many people. Wang Chongjin was at the fence on the second floor, and when she saw the people from devil-suppressing divine palace coming, her face turned ugly. It was because she was a demon king, and she hated the kind of power the devil-suppressing divine palace had to restrain her. The devil-suppressing divine palace was also very strong in the heaven realm. They had their own rankings. Although many years had passed since the internal struggle for power, the overall strength of the devil-suppressing divine palace was not weakened at all. Someone said that if the holy devil-suppressing seal could return, the devil-suppressing divine palace would definitely become the strongest power. Of course, Chen Shang wouldn't foolishly take the holy devil-suppressing seal to the devil-suppressing divine palace to shout and fight for the position of palace master. Yu Shuilian could feel the aura of the people from the devil-suppressing divine palace, and her long, shapely eyebrows frowned. She was a demon, and she also hated this aura. I wonder if it's been restrained for a bit, since the demon dwellers from heaven realm are living together harmoniously. Yu Shuilian snorted lightly. After a while, more and more people arrived. At this time, the palace mistress of Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace went up on stage and entered the Immortal Palace with the other Dan Immortal. However, he never thought that it would actually be a handsome young man who seemed to have released his aura. However, this was a genuine immortal king, being able to control such a huge immortal palace and set strict rules so that no one would be able to destroy it. It was definitely not easy. To be honest, it's been a while since Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace was this lively. The reason why it's so lively and gathered so many people is because of a single devil art, so we should take this opportunity to invite a few Dan Immortals to help our friends who plan to stay for a long time get a better chance. The Palace Lord of the Sky Cow said gently with a smile on his face. The soul-absorbing devil spell really did have a lot of magic power. Although many righteous people were cursing this devil art, they wanted to learn it very much because if one was very strong, they could use the soul-absorbing devil spell to search other people's memories and take over other people's memories, becoming a part of them. This was just a powerful part of it. Chapter 1290. Most of the rankers here had confirmed that the soul-absorbing devil spell had appeared before, because they had all seen the Tengu that Chen Shang had used to cast the soul-dispersing curse. That dog was still here, and people often went to check it out. Although there were currently no clues, many experts would continue to search for this cultivation technique. Most of them were worried about wasting time, and in the past, when Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu's master searched for some powerful cultivation techniques, it was not surprising for them to search for it for thousands or even tens of thousands of years. But Chen Shang was also suspicious. Maybe this group of people were here for the Holy Spirit Rabbit, anything that could help people cultivate body of heavenly sage. Its attraction was no less than the soul-absorbing devil spell. These Dan Immortal are all famous. I will introduce them one by one. Let's see how they compete in pill refining now. After he finished speaking, he stood to the side and let the 5 Dan Immortals display their skills. Chen Shang did not recognize these Dan Immortals, but Su Meiyao did not either, so they should be people from the younger generation. From the fire energy that was seeping out of their bodies, Chen Shang was sure that these Dan Immortals all had fire souls. However, he felt that Su Meiyao was even more powerful, because Su Meiyao didn't have a fire soul. She was also so powerful in terms of alchemy, which meant that her achievements in the area of alchemy were extremely high. Next, the 5 of them will compete to refine the longevity pill. This immediately led to whispers amongst the onlookers. This life-extending Dan bead is a low-grade heaven-level pill. If you take one, you can extend your life by at least 2 years, and up to a few decades, depending on the person who consumed the pill, but taking one won't have any effect. Su Meiyao said. Of the low-grade heaven levels pills, there were more people who wanted to buy them. Chen Shang also planned to get some medicinal ingredients to cultivate in the future. How much is this longevity pill? Chen Shang asked Yu Shuilian. 1 pellet of 10,000 spiritual crystal is higher than many low-grade heaven-level pills. Yu Shuilian said. The difficulty in refining is not great, it's mainly because of the difficulty in cultivating the ingredients, which is why it's so useful in prolonging life, thus it's sold at this price. Many people would risk their lives to earn this kind of, buying this kind of pill to extend life, is very easy to sell. Chen Shang nodded his head, and asked, are all these Dan Immortal famous? Yao Shumai replied, of course there are, they are all second-grade Dan Immortal-s, and can refine second-grade Immortal pills. Usually, only these Dan Immortal would have some reputation. The Immortal pills were from 1 to 9, and it was the same for Dan Immortal. The Duhai that Chen Shang knew in Sacred Dan Realm, was a third-grade Dan Immortal. Dan Immortal's competition to refine pills was not about refining Immortal pills, because it would take a long time, and Immortal medicine ingredients were rare. Making refining pills in this kind of environment was easy, the gains would not make up for the losses, so they could only compete to concoct low-grade heaven-level pills. Even if they were to refine a low-grade heaven-level pill, it would still take some time. When Chen Shang saw that they were using the foreseeing alchemy, he knew that it would take at least a day. Isn't it too boring to just observe the pill like that? How about we place a bet? The speaker was an old man on the second floor. However, there was no one beside the old man, but other places were packed with people. It could be seen that no one dared to approach this old man. Venomous Lord White-Browed Sovereign, this guy always likes to cause trouble. Yu Shuilian snorted. This old man only looked like he had a few wrinkles on his face and was hunched over. However, his hair was black, his eyebrows were snow white, and his hair was long and hanging down. Right now, he looked harmless with his smile, but he was a poison master, no wonder no one dared to approach him. Wang Chongjin said, I am afraid that you cannot afford it, I will bet on my Fire Divine Palace's Elder Rui's victory. If I win, all the participants will have to give me 1,000,000 spiritual crystal, if you lose, I will give you 1,000,000 spiritual crystal. The venomous master was obviously not afraid of Wang Chongjin, the Demon King, as he laughed, 1,000,000 spiritual crystal, this is too little, isn't it? Chen Shang immediately recognized him. The pill refining furnace was 2 people tall, and it looked like a small, fiery red pagoda. Furthermore, the fire energy that was being released from his body was gentle and strong, giving people a feeling that he was very strong. At this time, many people were participating, thinking that Elder Rui would not get first place. Although the Fire Divine Palace's alchemy industry was one of the stronger existence in the Heaven Realm, in the competition between Elder Rui and the 4 Dan Immortal, the chances of winning were not high. This Fire Divine Palace is really confident, there are already more than 60 people participating, if I were to lose, I would have to lose 60 million spiritual crystal. Yao Shumai said, although she also had a few spiritual crystals by her side, they were still far from enough. Seeing that Yu Shuilian and Yao Shumai did not have any intentions to join, Chen Shang knew that they were extremely cautious and did not have any interest in such things. Long Shui shouted, hurry up and get you to participate. Elder Rui's pill furnace is too broken, I can go in and cause trouble. Chen Shang said, you have the confidence, what will you do if you are discovered, what if it fails, I don't have 1,000,000 spiritual crystal on me. Long Shui scoffed, you idiot, can't you bet 1,000,000 on it? If there isn't 1,000,000 spiritual crystal and you want to borrow them from the 2 women by your side, then whatever you do for them in the future, it will bring them more than just 1,000,000 spiritual crystal. Furthermore, you will have to risk your life and be hunted down. Chen Shang immediately shouted out, saying that he wanted to bet, and he was immediately stared at by Wang Chongjin. If not for the fact that he could appear in this place, others would think that he could not afford it. Long Shui laughed, let's wait and take the spiritual crystal. Yao Shumai and Yu Shuilian were a little surprised. They did not expect this fellow to be so wealthy, to dare to play like this. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan both knew what kind of person this, little Yang, was. Back when they were outside the heavenly region, he had a very destitute look, and he had just flown up, and actually had 1,000,000 spiritual crystal. You used to be so rich. Mu Jialan rolled his eyes at him. I don't have any hair on my head right now, but that guy will definitely lose. Chen Shang laughed. If you lose, and you can't afford it, just wait for Fire Divine Palace to come and slaughter you. Mu Jialan said snappily. Chen Shang chuckled. You guys aren't going to just watch me get slaughtered, right? Isn't it just 1,000,000 spiritual crystal? You guys can definitely afford it. Yao Shumai glanced at him sideways. Xiao Yang, I didn't expect you to be such a gambler, this isn't a good thing. When Chen Shang wanted to gamble, most people had a high chance of winning. For example, right now, Long Shui was making his move in the dark. Now that I have reached the realm of limitless divine powers, I can secretly modify the formation patterns inside the broken pill furnace to make the time inside change. This way, the pill condensation process will be slower than others and won't be noticed by others. Long Shui laughed. Chapter 1291. Since he's so incredible, wouldn't it mean that if I bet pills with him in the future, I would definitely win? Chen Shang said excitedly. Of course not, the main thing is that this pill furnace is too broken, it can let other people's spirits sense in easily, and the ancient runes inside are also coincidentally familiar to me. If it's your Yanlong furnace, if I did anything to it, it would definitely be discovered. Long Shui's words destroyed the wretched idea that Chen Shang had won all over the world. Most of the people who dared to place their bets just now had some power and status, but Chen Shang had also come to join in the fun, and obviously wanted to earn Wang Chongjin's spiritual crystal, which was why Wang Chongjin glared at him. Chen Shang was not afraid at all, he had already defeated Wang Chongjin last time, so he was not afraid of winning a second time. The pill refining level of these 5 Dan Immortal S were all pretty good, they were all Dan Immortal S that could refine immortal pills. Chen Shang felt that even Li Baojun would be a distance away from them, but if Li Baojun grew up in the future, he would definitely not be bad either. After half a day, someone finally opened the pill furnace and took out 2 immortal pills. This Dan Immortal was the victor of this competition, because even though there were 2 longevity Dans, his speed was much slower. He had concocted quite a number of longevity pills and he was able to control his time very well. It was difficult for him to believe that such a result would occur, and he did not know the reason why. This was because he had performed very well, just like in the past. The Fire Divine Palace had actually lost. This meant that Wang Chongjin had lost more than 60 million spiritual crystal. Everyone was gloating in their hearts, some of them were even mocking Wang Chongjin as a calamity. Many experts heard about her situation in DTN, and it was extremely ugly. When Yu Shuilian saw Chen Zhang's smiling face, she sighed in her heart at his good luck. She said, I'll accompany you to pick up the spiritual crystal. Although Yu Shuilian was only a demon lord, she was still a capable subordinate of the Divine Blade Palace Master, so her status was still very high. At this moment, as she was walking on the road, a lot of people were making way for her. Give my regards to old Divine Blade for me, Wang Chongjin said as he gave Yu Shuilian a storage bag. Yes, Yu Shuilian answered as he brought Chen Shang up to the 3rd floor. When they went there earlier, Chen Shang was secretly shocked, because Wang Chongjin had used his powerful consciousness to carefully check out his strength. Fortunately he had concealed himself well, otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to escape the Immortal Palace. Wang Chongjin was on the 2nd floor, but when he arrived at the 3rd floor, the place they were standing a moment ago, he handed the spiritual crystal over to Chen Shang. Chen Shang accepted it and expressed his thanks. He was very happy that he could earn such a sum of spiritual crystal with no effort at all. But Fire Divine Palace did not participate, as he was obviously here to watch the show. Originally, he thought that he could obtain 1st place to show off, but who knew that he would lose, and even caused Wang Chongjin to lose over 60 million spiritual crystal. Everyone secretly hoped that this venomous old man whom everyone hated so much would disappear in the future when Wang Chongjin set his eyes on the white-browed poison monarch. Of course, there were also some people who were grateful to him, otherwise, they wouldn't have earned so many spiritual crystal. 5 million spiritual crystal a year, and they even gave me some medicinal ingredients. Chen Shang exclaimed, but that Dan Immortal didn't agree with his conditions. Without 10 million spiritual crystal for a year, don't even think about recruiting a 2nd stage Dan Immortal. Yu Shuilian said with envy in his eyes. Although there were a few 2nd-grade alchemists in Heaven Realm, but compared to the population of the entire Heaven Realm, they were considered to be very few. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialin were also the same, they were extremely envious of these Dan Immortals' generous treatment. Chen Shang wasn't envious, because he was an alchemist to begin with. Right now, he only lacked the time to grow up, otherwise, he would definitely become a powerful Dan Immortal in the future. They are all just lackeys, refining a low-grade heaven-level pill is so slow. Chen Shang muttered softly, he was qualified to say so, because the speed at which he used the god purification to refine Hunyuan Dan was extremely fast. If he turned himself into an old man, who could refine a furnace of Hunyuan Dan that could emit the light of a pill on the spot, it would definitely cause many people to mistake him as a high-level Dan Immortal. After Yu Shuilian heard it, he said, This is considered fast. If it was someone who had just become a Dan Immortal, refining it for a longer time, and if I was a person in charge of a force, I would definitely recruit him first. Yao Shumai nodded his head. The current ingredients can be quickly grown through great formations, and many of the ingredients are extremely cheap. If there's a friend from the Dan Immortal who bought some for him to refine, then there's no need to use too many spiritual crystal. At this time, Yu Shuilian gave Chen Shang and the others a meaningful glance, then walked towards the stairs. Yu Shuilian sent a sound transmission to her in his mind. It's time to start. Right now, many experts from the Sky region are gathered here. Even if something were to happen at that villa, they won't be able to make it in time. Chen Shang was secretly excited. He was going to obtain the Holy Spirit Rabbit soon, although it could not be used for himself, but it was indeed a good thing. The reason why Yu Shuilian came here was to see what kind of experts were gathered in the heavenly realm. After returning to the manor, it was already late at night. Yu Shuilian and Yao Shumai were the first to move. They entered the secret stone room and lured the immortal monarch out, and upon hearing the sounds of fighting, Mu Jialan and Chen Shang moved. Chen Shang never thought that Yu Shuilian and Yao Shumai would clash with the immortal monarch. This was not a good thing, because such a situation would very soon attract the strong warriors from the heaven realm. This meant that they had to hurry, otherwise they would be in danger. Arriving at the place where they had entered the stone room, they saw a courtyard and saw over a dozen beautiful women wearing thin clothes. When Mu Jialan and Chen Shang arrived, the beautiful women immediately rushed over. Go quickly, leave this to me. Mu Jialan's body suddenly released a pink light. Two slender sharp swords appeared. She waved both swords. The afterimages of the swords became violent, like stormy waves. She never thought that the kind and gentle she could actually have such strong sword skills. Chen Shang had already entered the tunnel. Originally, it was pitch black, but the moment he entered, it immediately lit up, and then, a woman with loose hair and a cape, who was completely naked, stood in front of him. That jade body emitted a moist glow. This woman was very beautiful, very bewitching. If it was a man with poor self-control, seeing such a beauty sitting in front of him with some very large movements would definitely cause his blood to swell. However, Chen Shang was more concerned with this woman's strength. She was actually very strong. Chapter 1292. Chen Shang was startled when he saw her. She then walked in with a charming smile on her face, and with every step she took, she made an extremely alluring pose. Just as he was about to reach Chen Shang, Chen Zhang's dull eyes suddenly glowed with a bright light, and in a flash, he appeared in front of the lady. With one palm, he dispersed the force that had been gathered in the woman's body, and then with a few successive punches, his fist landed on her flesh, causing her to vomit blood. After hitting her flat on the ground a few times, Chen Shang did not even bother looking at her, and rushed to the stone room, opening the door with what Yu Shuilian had given him. Opening the stone door, Chen Shang came to a room made of white jade. It was the same room that he saw on Yu Shuilian's disc. Be careful, Long Shui suddenly shouted in shock. Chen Shang had always been on guard. Sensing that danger was approaching, he hurriedly teleported out of the place. It was actually an old man wielding a spear and attacking him. From the look of the innate chi that was condensed on top of the long spear, this old man had the strength of an immortal monarch. Chen Shang was shocked that there was actually an immortal monarch here, and he could tell that it had been hidden here since a long time ago. Go catch Jade Rabbit, leave it to me. Long Shui shouted as he ran out from the ring. This was a very dangerous matter, and one must know that there were many immortal king-level fellows gathered in the heavenly realm. Although Long Shui appeared, he did not fight with the old man. Instead, he released many ropes that were formed from white light and tightly wrapped around the old man. The old man's face was filled with surprise, because he had used a lot of power but had been unable to break free. It could be seen that the masked woman was very strong, and this was a very powerful technique. Chen Shang caught the 4 Holy Spirit Rabbit in the corner and placed them into a beast bag. It was said that this type of beast bag was specially made, and normal beast bags wouldn't be able to hold this Holy Spirit Rabbit. It's a real Holy Spirit Rabbit. It's here, let's go. Bai Yu said. Long Shui also suddenly disappeared and entered into the ring, while the old man was still entangled by the white rope Long Shui released. Chen Shang quickly left the stone room and went outside. He immediately sneaked an attack on the 10 over-spirit demon women who were fighting with Mu Jialan. Quickly send a message to your mother and the others, I've succeeded. Chen Shang anxiously said. Mu Jialan frowned and looked at the place where the light was flickering. His expression was gloomy. I'm afraid we'll have to trouble them, they are fighting with the immortal monarch, and might not be able to escape. Right at this moment, Chen Shang and Mu Jialan could sense a large wave of strong qi approaching them. Without even thinking, they knew that it was the experts from the Heavenly Cow Immortal Palace coming over. Let's go. Chen Shang suddenly pulled Mu Jialan along, then used the spatial travel and shrinking steps coordination to rush towards the direction where Yu Shuilian and the others were battling. She recognized that this was the shrinking step. Only Chen Shang knew how to use it, and this was also the special footwork of the heaven-earth killing method. It was extremely powerful. Yao Shumai and Yu Shuilian's opponents were two old women with extremely strong bodies. What made Chen Shang even more surprised was that Yao Shumai's late period of human immortal could actually take on one of the immortal monarchs, but it was very strenuous. Chen Shang took out his death-haunting arrow, condensed it with his own strength, and shot an arrow towards the old lady who was fighting with Yao Shumai. Ah, it's extremely poisonous. The old lady did not expect that someone would plot against her. Chen Zhang's hidden arrows were powerful and silent, it was difficult to sense. Immediately after, Chen Shang released a second arrow, allowing him to escape. You killed them, yet you're using this poison. An old woman roared. They were all trying to expel the poison, so they didn't dare to approach her. Let's go. Yu Shuilian and Yao Shumai appeared beside Chen Shang in a flash, grabbed them respectively, and then quickly ran in one direction. At this time, the group of experts was getting closer and closer. Chen Shang was extremely nervous. What should we do? I'm afraid we're in trouble. Yao Shumai started to panic. Chen Shang immediately took out a shiny golden pill and threw it towards the group of people chasing after him. Then he shouted, prepare to defend against the cold qi. The thing that Chen Shang threw out was the destruction ice seal Dan. This thing was something that he had refined when he was in closed-door training back then, when he was trying to ascend, and used to defend himself. Yu Shuilian and the others immediately followed Chen Zhang's instructions. They already knew that Chen Shang was not an ordinary guy, and not just anyone could have had that poison just now. A burst of sound came from behind, followed by a wave of frost that engulfed the entire domain. The entire domain was immediately covered in this terrifying cold air, and many buildings were covered in a thick layer of frost. You guys are provoking the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. The palace master's angry roar had shattered a lot of ice and snow, but the heaven realm was still a world of ice and snow. Yu Shuilian had already taken out her transmission array plate, but now that no one was chasing after them, she could finally teleport peacefully. The four of them stood on top of the array discs. They had already seen the immortal kings leading the group rushing over. Chen Shang had shot out a few more destruction ice seal Dan, although it wouldn't cause any cold weather to the immortal kings, but it was still possible to delay them for a little while. It's open, Yu Shuilian shouted. At this time, she was also covered in cold sweat. If she was surrounded by this group of people, they would be dead. The transmission array flashed, and Chen Shang and the three women disappeared. In that instant, a few destructive ice seal Dan-s exploded, and an even wilder and more berserk icy cold power wreaked havoc in the entire Heavenly Bull region. In that instant, these immortal kings worked together to set up a barrier, trying to seal the space and prevent them from teleporting away. However, they were still a step too slow, because Chen Shang and the rest had already appeared in a large mountain. That was close. Yu Shuilian closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then, he sat down on the ground weakly, leaning against a large tree. Although they could escape death, Mu Jialan and Yao Shumai were still in a state of shock. Their faces were pale white, and had yet to recover from the shock. On the other hand, Chen Shang started laughing loudly with his hands on his hips, causing the three women to look at him as if he was a monster. However, they had no choice but to admit that without Chen Zhang's help a few times, they would definitely not be able to safely escape. Chen Shang had encountered this kind of situation too many times, and he had a lot of experience in escaping from death, so he was currently very calm. Now that the Holy Spirit Rabbit was in his hands, the next thing to do was to distribute them, and he had already agreed to each of them. Chapter 1293. Mu Jialan looked at Chen Shang strangely, because she saw that Chen Shang had used the shrinking step just now. Adding to the fact that Chen Shang had the ability of emergency response just now, she could not help but suspect that the person in front of her was Chen Shang. Will they chase us here? How far is this place from Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace? Chen Shang asked. There was that kind of dog in Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, although it would not be targeted, but the smell emitted from the three women's bodies was too easy to differentiate. We are very far from the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, it is a very remote place, and near the Immortal Palace, they will not chase us, we need to worry about the wanted list in the future, none of us will be able to escape. Yu Shuilian had already calmed down. They had already been prepared for the hunt in the future. Chen Shang took out 3 Holy Spirit Rabbits and gave them to the 3 women. Looking at the 3 cute jade rabbit, they immediately felt that they were sighing endlessly, they had almost died just for these 3 little things. Even though they could successfully escape, they would definitely face the pursuit of many parties in the future. First, the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. These 4 jade rabbits belonged to the Divine Saber Immortal Palace, so it could be said that the losses were the greatest, followed by the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. What happened there was probably the greatest provocation that the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace suffered in the history of the world. Not only did they try to rob such a precious thing from the inside, they even went through an intense battle. In the end, they sealed several levels of ice in the sky region of the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan would not be able to return to the Peach Blossom Immortal Country. The Holy Spirit Rabbit was sold by the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, and since they went to steal it, the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, in order to not be suspected, would definitely expel them. Unfortunately, it has to be handed over to Snow Moon Immortal Palace. Yao Shumai sighed, the Holy Spirit Rabbit was for women to use. If they used their Holy Spirit Rabbit blood for a period of time, they might be able to become immortal kings in the future. Mu Jialan looked at Chen Shang and said softly, you probably don't need to give it to Snow Moon Immortal Palace, if Xiaoyang is Chen Shang a. Yao Shumai and Yu Shuilian immediately looked at Chen Shang in astonishment, then looked at Mu Jialan. Yao Shumai asked. Chen Shang curled his lips. Until now, he felt that there was no need to continue concealing it, since he and these 3 women were on the same boat anyway. However, he could jump off the boat at any time. Seeing that Chen Shang had recovered his original appearance, the 3 girls were very surprised, but Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan were a little angry in their hearts, because Chen Shang had plotted against them before and pretended not to know anything about Chen Shang, spouting a lot of nonsense. It's really you. Mu Jialan stood up and looked at him resentfully. That gaze made Chen Shang not dare to look straight at him. Alright, we are old friends now. You guys need my help for something. You guys have been threatened by the Snow Moon Immortal Palace's poison, or something. Chen Shang said. We went to look for Munger and the others. They said that you might have a way to cure it, but they are not very sure. Yan Yao's grandfather also helped us look for a cure, but he said that it was very difficult to cure it. Yao Shumai said helplessly, that poison will act up once in a while. If there's no antidote, we would rather die. Yu Shuilian said, if I can become a demon king and condense a heavenly sacred snow lotus, I can help them, but I'm still too far away. Mu Jialan said, we don't know what kind of poison it is, can you really cure it? I can't bear to part with this Holy Spirit Rabbit. It should be the Snow Moon Immortal Palace's, Shui Qing'ai. It's a unique poison that is often used to control people in the Snow Moon Immortal Palace. However, it was banned afterwards. I never thought that they would use all sorts of methods to obtain Holy Spirit Rabbit. Su Meiyao said, this poison has existed for a long time. At that time, in order to prevent people from researching it, there was not much related content. Chen Shang asked, can you solve it? Mu Jialan and Yao Shumai were pretty good. Even though they were people of the Sheng domain, not only were they not enemies with him back then, they had also allied with him and had a very good relationship with him. He would definitely think of a way to help them. In the past, our master helped others to cure them. He used the soul-absorbing devil spell, and when he sensed the poison, he could directly suck it out. However, this poison is very strong, it would be equivalent to being poisoned if it was used. Bai Yuyu said. Chen Shang pinched his chin, frowned, with a profound look. Yao Shumai and the others were also waiting for him to answer. He communicated with Su Meiyao and the others for a while, and said, this should be the strange poison, Shui Qing'an, that Snow Moon Immortal Palace had concocted himself. Hearing these 4 words, Yu Shuilian's expression changed greatly, and he sighed. I didn't expect it to be this type of poison, this is going to be troublesome. Although Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan did not know of Shui Qing's poison, when they saw Yu Shuilian's expression, they knew that this poison was not simple. This is a strange poison. It's very difficult to cure, and will accompany you for the rest of your life. This is my understanding of this poison, and I never would have thought that it would be like this. Every once in a while, the concocted antidote will release the pain. Yu Shuilian's expression was ice cold as he gritted his teeth and said, Snow Moon Immortal Palace actually used this drug. Back then, this poison was regarded as the same as the super old poison. Don't worry, I will definitely use the holy snow lotus to cure it for all of you. Yao Shumai and Mu Jalan's face were pale white, their eyes revealed incomparable despair, as they weakly sat on the ground, looking completely bald and crippled. They had tried the pain brought by the poison before, but they didn't expect it to last for their entire lives. Chen Shang laughed. Don't be afraid, it's not like I said I can't solve it. Seeing Chen Zhang's mischievous smile, Mu Jalan and Yao Shumai cursed in their hearts, causing them to despair to the bottom of the valley. You are all friends with the elder sister Menge'er, but you are also my friends. I will definitely do my best to help you. Chen Shang chuckled. You don't have to be so grateful to me, it's fine if you promise me your life, I can't take all of you mother and daughter flowers. Mu Jalan said as her jade face instantly flushed red and a red cloud faintly surfaced on Yao Shumai's cheeks. Chen Shang squatted down and said, when I cure the poison, I want to suck the poison out of my body using my palm against my navel, quickly lift up my clothes. What? Mu Jalan's face, which had just lost its rosiness, once again blushed. The redness reached her ears. Letting a man touch her navel was a very embarrassing thing to do. Chen Shang felt confused, and said, what's wrong with that? It's not like you're going to get pregnant, you feel like you're at a disadvantage. Mu Jalan bit his lower lip as he glanced at Yao Shumai. Yao Shumai nodded to her, feeling like there was nothing wrong with his hand on his stomach. Chen Shang chuckled. Didn't you worship me a lot? You should feel honored. Chapter 1294. Seeing that Mu Jalan was still hesitating, Chen Shang said, take off your clothes, or I'll go inside. Yao Shumai chuckled. Then I'll go first. Although Yao Shumai had said this, he still minded it a little in his heart. But Chen Shang had kindly helped them to cure the poison in their hearts, allowing them to get rid of the control of this strange poison, as well as allowing them to take away the Holy Spirit Rabbit. The benefits they had received could be said to be incalculable. Yao Shumai tore his clothes open to reveal a hole in his navel, enough for him to put his hand in. Chen Shang felt that it was kind of funny. They were all wearing long skirts. If they wanted to expose their navels, they would have to take some off. It would be even more embarrassing. Although Yao Shumai was already a mother, he was still young and beautiful, and looked like a sister's. His figure was also very good. Chen Shang extended his hand, and placed it on her navel. Have you started smoking? Yao Shumai asked softly, his face a little red because Chen Zhang's hands were a little dishonest as he rubbed her navel. It was just that when he placed his hands on her, that kind of feeling caused him to uncontrollably rub his hands. It might be because he had not had sex with her for many years, coupled with the fact that the person in front of him was a completely familiar woman. It has already begun. Chen Shang looked very serious. He immediately released a burst of god power to check out the strange poison in Yao Shumai's body, and quickly found out that most of the poison was in his abdomen, where there were a few areas filled with this poison. The amount was very large. If it was even a little longer, his entire body would have been taken up by the poison. Chen Shang immediately locked onto the strange poison and then activated devouring magic Kung Fu, carefully absorbing it out. At this moment, Yao Shumai felt a cold feeling in his abdomen, the flow of the poison. Does it hurt? Chen Shang asked. He had already sensed that a large amount of poison was congealing in his palm and releasing a cold aura. At this time, Yao Shumai was very close to Chen Shang. She saw Chen Shang unrestrainedly looking at her face, looking straight into her eyes, causing her to lower her head slightly. She then shook her head. It's not painful. In less than an hour, Chen Shang had already sucked out all of the poison, and his entire palm was covered with a layer of frost. Are you all right? Yao Shumai could not help but ask when he saw Chen Shang taking out his hand. His face was filled with worry. Chen Shang smiled, a burst of flames emerged, and all the frost was incinerated. What's the matter? Jalan, it's your turn. Chen Shang laughed. Seeing that his mother had successfully gotten rid of the poison, Mu Jalan was secretly happy in his heart. She was no longer as shy as before and nodded, then also ripped a hole in her navel. Don't laugh. Mu Jalan snorted softly. The evil smile on his face made her immediately understand why Shui Shenxian kept calling Chen Shang a scoundrel, as if Lu Munger had also yelled that before. This made her think that Lu Munger might have also been hurt by Chen Shang before, that he was his master. Her beautiful eyes flickered with multicolored light, as if she wanted to see through Chen Shang completely. It was said that it could actually cure this strange poison, and even if it was someone from the Snow Moon Immortal Palace, they could only temporarily suppress their poison and could not completely cure it. Yu Shuilian naturally had some understanding of Chen Zhang's achievements. To be able to drive the Fire Divine Palace away from DTN, this was a very impressive thing. Heavenly Peach Blossom, you haven't even let a man touch your stomach before. Hee, it's time for you to find a man. Chen Shang gently rubbed her smooth belly and laughed. He then started to circulate his chi to absorb the poison. Mu Jialan pouted. I'm not looking for one, there's no need. You guys have seen Shui Shenxian and the others, are they all right? I handled matters regarding the dragon subduing school, so I ascended much later than them. Chen Shang asked. They are all very good, they all have very high positions in the Mortal King Immortal Palace. It's said that the Mortal King Immortal Palace is preparing to set up the Immortal Country, and they are a group of people worthy of nurturing. Are you going to the Mortal King Tien country next? Mu Jialan asked. Chen Shang shook his head. No, I don't want to bring them any trouble. If you don't mind, I can follow you guys around everywhere for a while. Yu Shuilian said. I will take them to hide in the spirit demon realm. It is very safe there, even if the other powers know we are inside, they will not dare to mess around. Do you want to go to the spirit demon realm? Not going, but big sister Snow Lotus, you will have a holy Snow Lotus in the future, can you give me one? I am an alchemist, I have great use for this holy Snow Lotus. Chen Shang asked. No problem, but you have to help me refine pills in the future. Yu Shuilian smiled slightly. The poison in Mu Jialan's body had already been sucked out, and at this point, the mother and daughter pair were all fine. Don't not know me when you become the female immortal king in the future. Chen Shang laughed. You definitely won't be able to play with me. You're the first man to touch my stomach. What's more, once we become the female immortal king, you won't even know what kind of monster you'll be. Mu Jialan laughed mischievously. Yao Shumai said, in the future, we will send some holy spirit rabbit blood over to Munger and the others at regular intervals. This will be of great use to them because you only have one jade rabbit, and it won't be enough for so many women like you. Chen Shang coughed dryly and corrected him. Until now, I only have Shenxian as my wife. You have to be careful of the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. If you don't have enough strength, don't expose your green dragon demon slain broadsword. Yu Shuilian reminded him repeatedly. Sister Snow Lotus, do you know LV Qinlian? She was just like you, transformed from a lotus. Chen Shang said. I don't know her, but I know her. She is a person that I respect very much, but I know that her relationship with you is not bad. I need you to recommend her to me in the future. Yu Shuilian laughed. The poison that Chen Shang used was all extraordinary poison, otherwise he would not have been able to handle immortal monarch rankers. Goodbye then, we will definitely meet again in the future. Yu Shuilian took out the transmission array plate, which she had already set up beforehand. To be able to teleport to the spirit demon realm, Chen Shang guessed that she must have spent all her savings to get such a powerful array disc. Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan said their goodbyes as well, and even hugged Chen Shang a little. The array disc opened and the three women who had just escaped death headed towards Yao Tian. Chapter 1295, Chen Shang looked around, he no longer had a direction, and did not know where he was. He shook his head and sighed, then casually walked towards a direction. I wonder what kind of people Munger's parents are. I feel that they are all very mysterious and powerful. Su Meiyao said. When your master, this crazy old man, comes to the heaven realm, his strength will definitely increase quickly. As for Yan Zilin and the other sisters, this power cannot be underestimated in the heaven realm. Quote. Chen Shang nodded. Even though they are very strong, I can't always give them trouble. I'll come find them in the future. Chen Shang would not be returning to the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace now, it was bustling with noise and excitement there. The Holy Spirit Rabbit that the Divine Saber Immortal Palace was raising had been snatched away, several layers of the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's domain had been frozen, the grandson of the Divine Wind Immortal Country was crippled, and the soul-absorbing devil spell had appeared. All of these things added up together made the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, who was originally a low-key immortal palace, famous. However, this was not a good thing, many of the immortal palaces were laughing at the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. The Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace soon had a clue. The first to be awarded were Yu Shuilian, Yao Shumai and Mu Jialan, the three women who participated in the competition, and lastly there was a man that no one knew. He was the one who turned into Chen Shang, and he even won 1,000,000 spiritual crystal from Wang Chongjin back then. This heaven realm is very big. If you go to one of the immortal palaces, it would be better for you to buy a guided immortal tablet. This is a low-grade immortal pellet, but it has been marked with many famous immortal palaces, and when you cannot use the transmission array, it will guide you to the right place. It will only be on foot. Su Meiyao said. He had been running in one direction for more than a month, but he had not seen a single person. Now, he understood why Wu Kanghong gave him that Luotian gate back then, because that thing was completely useless here. After running for several months, Chen Shang finally saw an immortal palace in the middle of a huge lake. Qinghu Immortal Palace, not bad. Go in and have a look. It would be best if you could go to one of the more popular immortal palaces. Su Meiyao said. Most of the people in the Qinghu Immortal Palace cultivated the water attribute and ate qi. Upon entering, one would be able to feel that the immortal qi absorbed by the immortal palace in the middle of the lake was also water attribute, so this was very normal. Divine Saber Immortal Palace and Snow Moon Immortal Palace have fought. It's been a long time since Heaven Realm had this sort of battle with a super immortal palace. I wonder if the men of Divine Saber Immortal Palace can beat the delicate beauties of Snow Moon Immortal Palace. Chen Shang passed by a shop that specialized in selling weapons, heard the shopkeeper and an acquaintance talk about this matter, so he walked over and interrupted. You guys don't know that the Holy Spirit rabbit blood can only be used by women. The mistress in Snow Moon Immortal Palace was originally a man, but later on she used jade rabbit blood, which would make her a woman. Chen Zhang's words attracted the attention of the people in the shop. It's true, everyone had the heart to gossip, let alone such a big gossip. Of course it's true. Following this, Chen Shang added details to the information Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu provided, and unceasingly talked about the things that happened between Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Frozen Moon Asgard. It was originally just Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Divine Saber Immortal Palace, but Chen Shang felt that it would be good to bring in another Frozen Moon Asgard. He even talked about the strange poison, Shui Qing 1, later on, making Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Frozen Moon Asgard sound extremely evil. The words that came out of Chen Zhang's mouth quickly spread around the Clear Lake Immortal Palace. Soon after, there were some people who found out that it came from the old immortal kings, and confirmed that many of those were true, especially the poison. Most of the women in Snow Moon Immortal Palace had become men. Many of the men who found out about this felt a pinch in their hearts, and the men who had sex with those women felt worse than eating shit, becoming a laughingstock. The reputations of the Snow Moon Immortal Palace and the Cold Moon Immortal Palace plummeted, and after investigating the source of the news, they found out that it came from a shop that sold weapons. Furthermore, that shop belonged to the Divine Saber Immortal Palace A. You all can go slowly. When my dragon subduing school grows up, your immortal palaces will be reduced to this. Chen Shang sat by the window and looked at the scenery outside. After a few days of inquiry, Chen Shang found out that there was a newly constructed Myriad Dan Immortal Country in the Heaven Realm. This Myriad Dan Immortal Country should be an extension of the Thousand Dan Immortal Palace. We can go take a look, and maybe we'll even find out more about my young master. Su Meiyao was suddenly excited. Who is your little master? Chen Shang asked. If he was still here now, he would have been even more powerful. He was the one who taught me alchemy, identified various medicinal herbs and poisons, and other things, but he was very low-key, and even now, we still do not know his real name. His relationship with my master is very good. I think we only found out about him after we became sworn brothers. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang did not ask around about anything related to the ruthless devil Venerable. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu did not allow him to ask about anything. He used it to buy 500,000 spiritual crystal, and it was also to prevent him from getting lost in the future. Only then did he remember that Yu Shuilian and the others had not paid the spiritual crystal for him, and with his relationship with the three women, 3 to 5 million spiritual crystal would definitely not be a problem, but at that time, he had actually forgotten about it. The teleportation cost is 500,000 spiritual crystal. Fuck, the spiritual crystal I earned from that old granny Wang Chongjin is gone just like that. Chen Shang scolded in his heart as he stood inside the transmission array. He was in desperate need of spiritual crystal. The Myriad Dan Immortal Country was very far away from here, and he had to force himself to accept the 500,000 spiritual crystal. Luckily, there were more people in the teleportation gate, otherwise, one of them would lose out by just activating the teleportation of the transmission array, but this kind of teleportation could rarely send one person, and normally only when there were enough people would people be able to teleport over. When the transmission array opened, a white light flashed before Chen Zhang's eyes. He originally thought that he would be able to see the bustling scene inside the myriad Dan immortal country, but who knew that he would see a large patch of trees, and they actually appeared within the forest. Damn it, we missed another distance. Is the Qinghu Immortal Palace that core? They even need to eat spiritual crystal with this little energy. One of the elders started to curse, while the others started to curse at the Clear Lake Immortal Palace as well. Chen Shang took out the pointing immortal plate. This was a square jade plate the size of a washbasin, with a golden finger array on top. It was pointing in a direction, and words, Myriad Dan Immortal Country, appeared on top of the finger array. Little brother, you actually have something like the road immortal plate. I've always thought that it was useless. An old man came to Chen Zhang's side and looked at the needle, then was scolded at the distance displayed. We still have 20 days to go, the old man said angrily. Chen Shang kept the guided immortal plate, and said, 10 days is enough. With that, he immediately ran away, disappearing from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. Chapter 1296. Chen Shang felt that since he had lost a lot of spiritual crystal, being able to teleport him to this place was already good enough, but the tycoons who had entered the transmission array with him did not think so. They wished that they could return to the Clear Lake Immortal Palace and scold the person in charge of teleportation mercilessly. This place was still considered safe, even if there were demon beasts and the like, it would not be too strong. After all, this place was close to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, and even if there were strong beasts, they would not dare to appear here, otherwise, it would be very easy for them to be captured by the strong rankers from the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. Other than Chen Shang who did not complain, there was one other person who did not say anything. When he appeared and knew the direction of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, he was like Chen Shang, immediately rushing forward, and his speed seemed to be even faster than Chen Zhang's. There's a guy following you at a fast pace, but he seems to have intentionally kept a distance from you and didn't catch up to you. He was deliberately tailing you from behind. Long Shui said. Chen Shang also realized that. He activated Heaven Tour and looked at the person behind him. He noticed that he was a very delicate and pretty man. He looked very scholarly and refined, with a light beard below his nose, and a pair of eyes as deep as the ocean. Although the clothes he was wearing weren't very luxurious, it gave people the feeling that he had a very noble temperament. This guy isn't simple, Chen Shang said, but the person did not have any malicious intent, as though the reason he followed him was just to confirm the direction. I actually can't see through his strength, Long Shui said. Chen Shang intentionally stopped and then took out the directing celestial plate. Looking towards the direction, the handsome man was also near to him, walking over to Chen Zhang's side and looking at it carefully. This direction is right, the Myriad Dan Immortal Country is right ahead. The man smiled at Chen Shang. This is your first time going to Myriad Dan Immortal Country, right? Chen Shang kept his immortal deity plate and replied with a smile. That's right, I'm worried that we'll go in the wrong direction. The handsome man said. I have been in the Myriad Dan Immortal Country for a while. I have always used the transmission array. This is the first time I am using this method to return to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. Let's go together. Chen Shang nodded and then ran into the forest together. On the way, Chen Shang found out that this man's name was He Feng, but Chen Shang felt that this was not his real name. Of course, Chen Shang also used a fake name. Brother Yan, why are you in such a hurry to go to Myriad Dan Immortal Country? Is it also for that reason? He Feng asked. What's that? I just want to take a look at the pills in there and find something suitable. Chen Shang said honestly, he did not know what happened in Myriad Dan Immortal Country. He Feng was a little disappointed, and said, the immortal king of Myriad Dan Immortal Country is about to abdicate, he will pass the throne down to a prince. According to the rules of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, the new king will ascend the throne, and the gathering will be held of course. Many of the reason why many people go to Myriad Dan Immortal Country now is to curry favor with the prince who has the hope of becoming the new king. Quote. Chen Zhang's eyes lit up, and asked, Myriad Dan Immortal Country is a great pill power, I wonder if there will be a pill refining competition. This was what Chen Shang was looking forward to, but it would not be easy to get. Maybe when the time came, he would even have to expose himself, but if it was a very precious herb, he would give it his all. This one is definitely there. Brother Yan, you're actually an alchemist, I really can't tell. He Feng was a little shocked, because he did not sense any aura from Chen Zhang's body. Previously, he had thought that Chen Shang was a disciple from a famous clan, but seeing that Chen Shang did not know about the matters of the myriad Dan immortal country, he did not think much of it. Chen Shang laughed. I learned a little, when the time comes I just want to join in the fun. What about you? You went to the myriad Dan immortal country for that? He Feng shook his head. I am from the myriad Dan immortal country, and this time I was given AA. When the time comes, there will definitely be a secret battle. Many people who are currently distributed among the ninth heaven are rushing to myriad Dan immortal country, and Brother Yan, you actually don't know about this sort of thing. Quote, before I came here, I had already inquired about the myriad Dan immortal country and no one mentioned this matter to me. Chen Shang frowned, he had indeed inquired about it in detail. It seems like Brother Yan is a rogue cultivator. Only some major powers know about this. He Feng suddenly realized something, but he was still surprised, because Chen Shang was also a rancor that he could not see through. Right now, there are 7 princes in myriad Dan immortal country who are all immortal kings, so these 7 are the most likely to be the princes. Right now, there are 7 princes in myriad Dan immortal country who are all immortal kings, so these 7 are most likely to be the most likely. He Feng said. Chen Shang did not expect the interior of the myriad Dan immortal country to be so complicated, but he immediately thought of something, and said, if that's the case, then the other 6 princes might join hands to deal with the 6th prince. The 1000 Dan immortal king does not care at all. The 1000 Dan immortal king will not appoint a successor. As long as it is a time specified by him, he will leave the myriad Dan immortal country and go to a place to cultivate in seclusion. It has always been like this. He Feng sighed. Then which prince are you from, brother He? Chen Shang asked again. He had already sensed that He Feng was trying to rope him in. 6th prince, He Feng said. He could already tell that Chen Shang was a smart person and he wanted to rope Chen Shang in. I wonder if Brother Yan wants to follow the 6th prince He Feng asked. I don't want to. I'm used to being free and unfettered. I don't want to get involved in this kind of dispute. Chen Shang immediately rejected her. When he was at DTN, he was always in this kind of dispute, and now it was rare for him to be this free and easy. He Feng sighed lightly, then handed over a jade tablet to Chen Shang. If you have any ideas, take this jade tablet and go find me at the 6th prince's territory. It will be very easy to find me there. The battle for the throne won't end that soon, so if you go to the myriad Dan immortal country, you'd better be careful of the 1st prince. After Chen Shang received the jade medallion, he suddenly increased his speed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Was secretly shocked. This He Feng's strength was far stronger than he had imagined. I'm sure of it, at least at the immortal monarch's level of strength. It's not bad that the 6th prince has such a powerful person under his command, but I don't know who the 6th prince is. Back then, I also knew a few influential figures within the myriad Dan immortal country. Su Meiyao said. Who cares? I entered to earn spiritual crystal S. I don't want to get involved in this kind of nonsense. Chen Shang put away the jade tablet. The myriad Dan immortal country was nervous right now. He felt that he should be able to find an opportunity to earn a fortune. Oh right, I remember that the immortal king in the myriad Dan immortal country all those years ago seemed to have the surname of He. Su Meiyao suddenly said. Ah, Chen Shang said in surprise, could it be that the boy just now was a grandson? Chapter 1297. After walking out of the forest, Chen Shang stood at the peak. Looking into the distance, he could see the blurry shadows of a few large immortal palaces. Although they could be seen, they were very blurry, and were very far away too. These are just the few immortal palaces outside. There are more than 100 of these in the entire myriad Dan immortal country. Chen Shang muttered, this was the power of a immortal country, to be able to control so many huge immortal palaces, and there were many of these powers in the heaven realm. This myriad Dan immortal country should be considered to be one of the more powerful ones, able to compete with forces like the devil suppressing divine palace and the fire divine palace. It's just that this is a relatively neutral immortal country, we rarely start a fight with others. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang came to the closest immortal palace, which was slightly smaller than the heavenly bull immortal palace S, but he did not plan to stay there. He wanted to go to the main palace, which was also the center of power for the myriad Dan immortal country. Originally, he wanted to use the transmission array, but he didn't have any spiritual crystal left. He reckoned that he would be able to live in a room or something like that. This was the first time he was this poor. Wait until my dragon vein evolves into the level of spiritual crystal. I will be the richest person in the 9 heavens. Chen Shang consoled himself. Chen Shang spent 3 days and used the fastest speed to rush to the main palace of the Thousand Dan Immortal Palace. The walls here were not very high, and were slightly shorter than the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's 30,000-meter wall. Furthermore, the high walls here seemed to be made of wood and had a grain of wood. 10,000 spiritual crystal. Seeing that Chen Shang did not know the rules and did not give the spiritual crystal an appointment, a guard immediately stopped him. Chen Shang currently did not have any spiritual crystal, but this did not mean that he was very poor. With difficulty, Chen Shang fished out a jade tablet from the storage magic treasure. It was given to him by Yifeng. When he saw the jade medallion, the guard immediately felt deep veneration for him. He hastily stepped aside to let him enter. Chen Shang felt good inside, and then swaggered in. This jade plate is really good stuff, it helped me save 10,000 spiritual crystal. Chen Shang was secretly happy in his heart as he put away the jade tablet. Upon entering the Immortal Palace, Chen Shang immediately felt that the place was much more powerful than the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, mainly because of the strength of the people inside. There were many mid to late stages immortals, and also many treasures and pills that were sold in the shops. After walking around outside for a bit, what troubled Chen Shang the most was that he could only watch, because he did not have a spiritual crystal. Especially when he entered some of the pill stores, he wanted to try out some of the so-called famed experts who had refined some of the pills. Little scoundrel, you're being watched. Just as Chen Shang walked out of a pill shop, Long Shui said. I didn't offend anyone. Chen Shang had only entered the Immortal Palace for 4 hours, yet he had not spoken much with anyone before he was set on. Long Shui said. I thought so too, but I recognize that guy's appearance. He was previously concealed very well, I didn't even realize that he had followed me all the way from the entrance. I understand. Maybe it's because I used that jade plate. It seems that I have to quickly change my appearance. Chen Shang continued to stroll around, but he had a goal in mind, which was to get rid of the people following him. Not long after, Chen Shang turned into a middle-aged big man, walked past the person who was following him, and sneered in his heart, continue to follow the illusion created by the little naughty dragon. Long Shui laughed tenderly. Let's go for a month or so, and see how long he can follow us. Chen Shang passed by many luxurious hotels and inns, and really wanted to go in and take a look. However, the spiritual crystal beside his hand couldn't even stay in the most ordinary of inns here. Let's go up to the high wall and take a look at the scenery. Chen Shang was only strolling in the outer circle. In the center was the palace area, and there were even more innates in the vicinity. And there was even a fight that was brewing. At this time, the sky was clear and the walls were not shrouded by clouds, which allowed them to look down on the main palace. However, they could only see a small part of the palace and it was even more blurry in the distance. Boom! Above the blue sky, a great rumbling sound could be heard. Everyone that was attacking immediately raised their heads to look at the sky, only to see a huge door appear in the sky. It's the Dragon Gate. The people from Imperial Dragon Clan are here. Long Shui said. This huge golden door was covered with carvings of all sorts of dragons. After the door was opened, a dragon's roar resounded, enveloping the entire horizon. It was extremely terrifying, as if a huge dragon was about to descend. This is the teleportation saint artifact of the Imperial Dragon Clan, named Dragon Gate. It can teleport at will through the 9 heavens. Long Shui explained. A ray of golden light shot out from the Dragon Gate, which then disappeared. Only a golden mist was left in the sky, and more than 10 golden-robed people appeared under the high wall. They were most likely the Emperor Dragon who had just come out of the Dragon Gate. There are 2 holy dragons. The rest are all fire dragons and the like, but they all have a very strong Emperor Dragon aura. The strongest one should have the strength of a Dragon King. Long Shui said, his voice carried a burst of killing intent. Chen Shang had rarely seen Long Shui with such killing intent. Chen Shang asked, is he your enemy? However, the moment he entered the door, he immediately rushed towards the nearest transmission array. Many people did not even see his face, and they were teleported away, probably to the central region. You are the leader of the Dragon Subduing School, and I am the very high elder of the Dragon Subduing School. How do you think we should deal with this kind of dragon? Long Shui retracted her killing intent and snorted. Chen Shang chuckled. This will depend on whether the dragon's value is worth it to attack. If it's someone like that Prince Imperial Dragon, I think it's very necessary. Just as Chen Shang walked down from the high wall and arrived on the ground, he felt a strong wave of the power of the Holy Dragon surging from the center of the wall, followed by a somewhat familiar aura. This is a, Chen Shang was shocked. It's the Imperial Avian race. I didn't expect the situation in the Myriad Dan Immortal country to be so complicated. Long Shui said, Imperial Dragon Clan and Imperial Feather race probably wanted to support a prince to become the new king, so they all secretly helped, so that he could have some power in the Myriad Dan Immortal country. Chapter 1298. Originally, Chen Shang did not plan to beat up such a bustling place, but he was lacking spiritual crystals right now, and he also wanted to see if he could take out 1 or 2 dragons and refine a batch of dragon pills to satisfy his craving. Thus, after discussing with Long Shui and the others, he decided to join in the fun and see if he could find some good stuff as well. Chen Shang, who had the idea of robbing the dead and rich, traveled a long distance inside this gigantic immortal palace, and headed to the center region to see if he could find any benefits. He felt that his time to dab oil on his feet was really great. If he did not go this time, he would definitely let down his ancestors. It seems like there isn't any great war. I've come for nothing. Chen Shang was a little disappointed on the way back because he saw that many people were like how they usually were. There were many empty areas in the Immortal Palace that had no people, and were places used for fighting. On the road, Chen Shang passed by many uninhabited forests, but he did not see any huge battles. It might not have started yet. This kind of competition will more or less erupt into a huge battle. It's possible that Imperial Dragon Clan and Imperial Feather Race met just now and had a spar in terms of aura. Long Shui said. Outside the main palace, Chen Shang couldn't even afford to live in a house. But now that he was in the center of the area, he realized that even if he were to sleep on the main street, he might still be driven away. This central region of the Myriad Dan Immortal country is really powerful. I really want to pry a floor tile to sell. Chen Shang walked on top of the floor tiles and discovered that the floor tiles were all made from a type of strange stone. There were spirit grains on them that could gather immortal chi, causing the immortal chi in the central area to be extremely dense. Without capable people, it would be difficult to get along here. Just doing anything would require a large amount of spiritual crystals. Looks like only a poor person like me would have the thought of sleeping on the streets. Chen Shang looked at the incomparably dazzling pedestrians on the road and sighed in his heart. Isn't there only one person sleeping on the ground in front? You can go and accompany him. Long Shui laughed. Chen Shang looked forward and discovered that there was indeed a slovenly old man lying at the entrance of a medicine store. This old man was holding a bone that was as large as a broom in his hand, and the flesh on it had already been eaten. This kind of person was incomparably dazzling in this sort of resplendent central region. A few passers-by slightly creased their brows, but strangely, they weren't chased away. Chen Shang walked over. He wanted to see which deity this was, so that he could sleep in this place as though he was sleeping in his own home. There was no trace of politeness in his actions. He walked over to take a closer look and was stunned for a moment. When he looked again, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. This, master, Chen Shang screamed in his heart. This old man was actually his master, Huang Jintian. It's actually this old madman. I actually didn't notice. Long Shui was also very surprised. Huang Jintian realized that a middle-aged man was staring at him and immediately raised his head and shouted, "What are you looking at? Have you never seen anyone sleeping on the streets before? Do you dare to sleep?" Chen Shang really wanted to ruthlessly kick his feet, and then use his fastest speed to run away. Watch my feet. Thinking about that, he really did go over and kick Huang Jintian. His kick was very fast, but Huang Jintian also managed to dodge quickly, and was not hit by Chen Zhang's kick. Bastard. A gentleman doesn't even move his mouth, yet you don't even move your hands. You've even moved your feet. Huang Jintian flew into a rage. After swearing, he found out that Chen Shang had already disappeared. Chen Shang was already sprinting on the street like a running rabbit. He was well aware of this crazy old man's temperament. He would definitely beat him up if he got caught by him. You won't be able to escape. Huang Jintian still hadn't realized that this was Chen Shang. He only felt that this fellow was extremely bored, coming here to provoke him to sleep on the streets. What made him even angrier was that this fellow ran really fast. Just a moment ago, a group of people had been watching these two weirdos. One was a thick-skinned old man who was sleeping on the street, while the other was a bored old man who had observed this old man up close and had even kicked him. Originally, everyone thought that this kind of scene would happen. However, they didn't expect that Chen Zhang's lightning-fast treasure rush would make many people feel inferior. What was even more surprising was that the old man on the street was also very fast. As expected, there are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the central region of the myriad Dan Immortal country. Seems like I'll have to have some ability if I'm bored. Otherwise, if I get caught, I'll definitely be beaten to death. Chen Shang was not bored, he only wanted to lure Huang Jintian to a place with no one around, so he used such a method. Of course, he could send a sound transmission, but he was afraid that if this old lunatic Huang Jintian found out it was him, he would beat him up without saying a word. Finally, Chen Shang desperately ran to the grassland far away from the crowds of people, and shouted, "Master, it's me, I'm Chen Shang." "What, little bastard, you dare to provoke me in public? Are you tired of living?" Huang Jintian suddenly shouted, increased his speed, and in the blink of an eye, caught up to Chen Shang. Chen Shang immediately dodged, dodging the chaotic punch. "Master, why are you here? The moment I came to the heaven realm, I looked everywhere for you, but I couldn't find you no matter how hard I searched." Chen Shang changed the topic and asked. Huang Jintian did not use this method, his punches and kicks moving out, and every strike was extremely powerful and overbearing, bringing with it a very berserk dragon power. Huang Jintian was very strong, so he could not fight him head-on. Even if he had body of heavenly sage, it was still very painful to be hit, so he could only dodge. After hitting Chen Shang for a while, Huang Jintian was also very anxious, because he did not manage to hit Chen Shang, and was dodged by Chen Shang in a very strange way. Huang Jintian suddenly stopped and asked seriously, "You're also here?" Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief, walked over, and said, "I am here because A." Before he finished speaking, Huang Jintian had suddenly flashed behind him, and gave him a heavy punch. Chen Shang had long prepared for this, and he had experienced Huang Jintian's moves many times before, so he anxiously used spatial teleportation to dodge. "Humph, that's too insidious. You can use this strange movement skill, stop fighting," Huang Jintian said, but Chen Shang did not believe him and kept her distance. Chen Shang chuckled. "Master, I know that you want to see my strength, all of this is for my own good." Huang Jintian tidied up his hair and said, "Little brat, your wings have grown harder. What are you doing here? The situation here is very complicated." Huang Jintian said, "Let me say it first, I have heard that there will be people from the Imperial Dragon clan here, so I plan to kill 1 or 2 Emperor Dragons." Chen Shang was surprised that his crazy master would have such a thought. "I'm here to make a fortune," Chen Shang said with a serious face. Chapter 1299. When Huang Jintian heard that he was here to make a fortune, his eyes immediately lit up. Back when he was at DTN, he already knew that Chen Shang was a tycoon that treated pills as food. "Master, you have been in the heaven realm for a while, you should be doing well. Can you lend me 1,000 or so spiritual crystal?" Chen Shang rubbed his hands together. "I am currently lacking in spiritual crystal, lacking in the flow of spiritual crystal." Huang Jintian shouted, "If I had thousands of spiritual crystals to lend to you, would I even need to sleep on the streets? If you don't have spiritual crystals, why would you come here? Didn't I say it already? I'm here to make a fortune." Chen Shang was extremely disappointed. "You were just selling some pills and the spiritual crystal came. Are you really that poor?" Huang Jintian hugged his chest and said, "How many spiritual crystal on you?" "There's still 3,000 like this," Chen Shang said. "Just this little bit, it's not even enough to fill the gaps between our teeth." Huang Jintian muttered to himself, then shouted, "Lend me 2,000, I need it urgently." After Chen Shang haggled with him for a while, and only gave him 1,500 spiritual crystal, he also wanted to keep a little of them by his side. Moreover, he didn't believe that Huang Jintian would be so poor. "Master, the fellow from Imperial Dragon clan is here. Do you want me to borrow a green dragon demon slain broadsword?" Chen Shang chuckled. "Just give me the dragon pearls on their bodies when the time comes." Huang Jintian glared at him, curled his lips, and said, "Lending me the green dragon demon slain broadsword, don't you think my life is too long? Using a green dragon demon slain broadsword in heaven realm, that's simply courting death. If Yao Tian and Mo Tian's people knew, they would definitely come to snatch it." Imperial Dragon Clan and Divine Saber Immortal Palace also thought that this blade was theirs, and would definitely participate. "I can't use this blade. Unless I have no other choice, I must not expose myself. This heaven realm isn't like DTN," Huang Jintian said. Chen Shang nodded his head. "Master, how about I go with you to kill dragons? I only want dragon pearls, and dragon meat for you to eat. Huang Jintian really liked eating meat. Back then, at the bottom of the sky pit in Super Martial Profound Realm, he had often barbecued meat to eat. No, it's too dangerous to go with you. Kid, you will kill me. If you are exposed, I will be in trouble. Huang Jintian refused. Master, you really have no conscience. Just now, I gave you 1500 spiritual crystal. Chen Shang said snappily. If you want to kill the dragon, go. Do you think I don't know that the dragon pearl is more precious than the dragon's body? You want to take advantage of me? We'll kill each other. After Huang Jintian finished speaking, he turned around and threw it away. Chen Shang wanted to ask some more questions, but did not give chase. I thought that master would be able to fish up some benefits, but not only did I not manage to get anything, he even took away 1500 spiritual crystal. Chen Shang sighed, and then walked towards the center of the bustling area. What if he kills the dragon? That would infuriate the Imperial Dragon clan and we wouldn't have any dragon cores to eat. Long Shui said worriedly. My master, this old lunatic, doesn't need us to worry about him. However, if he really kills those dragons, it is indeed not a good thing. However, with my current strength, I cannot make a move as soon as possible. Chen Shang said. He had just ascended to Heaven Realm, and would have to face those dragons head-on. He didn't know the other party's foundation, so he didn't dare to be reckless. Your master is very powerful as well. I didn't even notice that it was him. He must have undergone some changes while cultivating the Taiji dragon suppressed Kung Fu. Maybe he even made some changes on his own. Long Shui said. In Long Shui's eyes, Huang Jintian had always been a mysterious person who could not be seen through. He himself was a member of the undead race, and had an endless lifespan, but Long Shui did not know how long he had lived for. He had once dominated the entire mortal realm a long time ago, and now that he was here in the Heaven Realm, he had started to have ideas about the Emperor Dragon, so he was definitely not a simple person. This central region was normal, and it didn't seem to be in chaos because of the battle for the throne. However, Chen Shang felt that this was probably because the battle for the throne wasn't intense enough. Chen Shang was searching for a pill shop here, wanting to see if he could find a job. He would temporarily have a place to stay, then see how the situation turned, and find a way to make a huge profit from this. Are you the pill sect? Do you have their jade token? An old man in charge of recruiting alchemists looked up and down at Chen Shang, while Chen Shang turned into a simple middle-aged man. This kind of appearance was indeed rather rare in the pill sect, and most of them were old men. The level of alchemist here was also around the same as DTN's. Back then, DTN's new division was set by the Tong Tian aristocratic family and Sheng domain. It was probably based on this heaven realm. Of course, Chen Shang would not mind being able to refine a high-grade ground-level pill, but he did not have the pill sect's jade tablet to prove it. I haven't taken the test yet, but I can concoct high-grade ground-level pills. Chen Shang said. However, that would require him to duplicate a large amount of high-grade ground-level medicinal ingredients, and then refine a lot of them. It was very complicated, and he felt that if he had the time, he might as well make higher-grade medicinal ingredients. The current creation divine liquid was extremely precious to him. Seeing the doubtful expression on the old man's face, Chen Shang anxiously said, I can use my own medicine to display it. If I were to go for the assessment, it will take a lot of time, and I will have to wait a bit before I take the examination, right? Chen Shang had already investigated on this matter. That's right. If you had just been able to refine a high-grade ground-level pellet, you would have been unable to undergo the examination within a short period of time. Furthermore, the cost would have been extremely high as many alchemists would have been able to earn spiritual crystal before then. The old man nodded, then brought Chen Shang inside the medicine store. Seeing Chen Shang looking around like a country bumpkin along the way, because the interior of the shop was really big and the decorations were luxurious, Chen Shang felt dizzy as if he was looking at a palace. The hall that displayed the pills, for example, gave people the feeling that it was a small plaza that could accommodate tens of thousands of people. I didn't expect it to be so small from the outside, but after entering, there's still such a large space. Chen Shang said in shock. Of course, the pill shop belongs to the large area behind this street. You must know that this pill shop is the place where the sixth prince once stayed. When the old man mentioned this matter, his face was filled with pride. The sixth prince was the strongest prince in the myriad Dan immortal country, and was the most likely person to become the king of the immortal country. Chapter 1300, was considering whether or not he should take out that jade tablet. In this way, he could temporarily join the sixth prince, and at the very least, live a good life with him, but in the end, he decided not to rely on this relationship. He himself walked his own path. As a dignified leader, he did not want to become a part of any faction. Furthermore, at this time, he was only earning a little spiritual crystal in this medicine store. It was not equivalent to joining this faction. Chen Shang wanted to follow the old man to the pill refining room. It was a secret room built underground, and it was extremely quiet and safe there. We have a lot of alchemists, many of their immortal pills come here to stock up. The old man brought Chen Shang to the depths of the earth. Walking along the path, Chen Shang suddenly saw a familiar face. It was just that this man was dressed extravagantly, releasing a kind of glaring radiance. Although he looked handsome, he did not lose out to a king. He Feng, this guy really is a grandson. Chen Shang thought. Young master. The old man bowed his head slightly, then told He Feng that he had brought someone to take the pill refining exam. He Feng nodded his head. Then let's go quickly, we will need a large amount of pills later. After He Feng left, Chen Shang asked in a low voice, Uncle, who is he? The old man immediately became respectful, and said, the eldest son of the sixth prince, whose strength is at the late stage of immortal monarch, is one of the stronger existences among the myriad Dan immortal country's royal grandchildren. Don't look at him like this. Chen Shang took a deep breath and said in shock, Demon Palace, are there no demon lord level fellows inside? How is that possible? The old man chuckled, of course there is. However, eldest young master has a very strong power that can deal with that demon king and ultimately destroy the entire demon palace. So, he's very famous. What's his name? Chen Shang asked. He Feng. Chen Shang thought that this was a fake name back then, but he never thought that it was actually real. He suddenly felt that he was just too ignorant, and it was no wonder that He Feng could see that he was a guy who didn't know anything at that time. As the eldest son of an immortal king, it's impossible for him to not have some ability. Don't be jealous of him, you're not bad either. In my heart, you're the strongest. Su Meiyao chuckled. Yes, Chen Shang was truly surprised at He Feng's strength just now. What kind of power was this? Indeed, the heaven realm has as many powerful warriors as the clouds. Chen Shang lamented. This era seems to be even more powerful than the one we had. Could it be that it's because DTN is about to be reborn? Or is it because a new 9 emperors and 5 venerables is about to appear? Bai Yu said. Arriving at the pill refining room, the old man gave Chen Shang a pill furnace and Chen Shang took out a portion of Relive Dan's medicinal ingredients. It was just that the quality was not very good, otherwise, it would have been eaten by Long Shui long ago. Seeing this quality, the old man frowned slightly. This was because even if he were to refine it, he would be able to refine something good. If it was someone who had just become a member of the pill sect, refining it would be even more difficult. Please check. Chen Shang passed over the quality, poor quality herbs. Thinking back to when he owned a large amount of these herbs, he just did not need them now, nor did he copy them. There's no need. You can just directly refine it. Even if you fail, if your performance is not bad, we will still accept you. The old man said. If the old man was not here, Chen Shang would have immediately used the god purification, which would have been much faster. Although the quality was not high, but in Chen Zhang's eyes, it was no problem at all. In many pill refining competitions, he had long gotten used to it. From the time he was handling the medicinal ingredients and releasing the flames, the old man had been watching by the side. Seeing that Chen Shang was very skilled and very calm, he secretly nodded his head. If he wanted to succeed, he would need to wait for a while. The old man sat on a nearby chair and waited patiently. Originally, he thought he would have to wait a long time, but he did not expect Chen Shang to finish refining in just over an hour. I've finished refining it. Senior, please take a look. Chen Shang stood up and opened the lid of the pill furnace. 2 pills. The old man hurriedly walked over and said in astonishment. How do you make it? Just like this, it was refined. Fire it, and then the foreseeing alchemy. Chen Shang said simply. The old man sized up Chen Shang from head to toe. He never thought that there would be such a talent. Using mediocre quality medicinal ingredients, he was able to create 2 Relive Danas at an extremely fast speed, and the quality was also very good. Chen Shang had hidden a lot, otherwise he would be even more shocking. What's your name? The old man asked. Yan Fei. Chen Shang could only use a fake name. If he used his real name, the myriad Dan Immortal country would be even more chaotic. Although he was just a small fry in the eyes of many big shots, but what he knew were the things that all the powerhouses dreamed of. If you pass, I will have someone arrange something for you. These are jade tokens for entering and exiting the Pill Emperor Hall. Someone will tell you the specifics. The old man said. After leaving the pill refining room, there was indeed a youth who came over and brought Chen Shang out of the underground pill refining palace. They arrived at a villa above and arranged for Chen Shang to stay there. Chen Shang sat in the courtyard, basking in the sunlight. In the center of the courtyard, he could see a small house that could read magic, allowing him to relax. This heaven realm's sky seems to be pretty blue. I wonder how Master is doing. Chen Shang was still a little worried about the crazy old Huang Jintian, because the one Huang Jintian was going to deal with was the Emperor Dragon. As Chen Shang was muttering to himself, a gentle and sweet voice sounded out, "Master Yan, I am Little Ling. I will be your personal servant in the future." Chen Shang turned his head over, and saw a sweet girl with a ponytail wearing a purple dress smiling sweetly at him. She was squinting her curved eyes right now. "This, and there's even a personal maid gifted it to you. The treatment is too good, right?" Seeing such a sweet and pretty girl, Chen Shang praised her in his heart. "My personal maid, you will follow me wherever I go, right?" Chen Shang asked. He was a little happy in his heart. After all, one person would be annoyed, although there were 3 women in the ring. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Although I am not very strong, but I understand a lot of things and should be able to help you." Xiao Ling stood behind Chen Shang and said with a gentle smile.